A family torn apart by the will to win. A brotherhood that stood strong for ages, now on separate paths. Players at the top of their game forced to go through one another to make main stage. This is the first semifinal for Manchester, but the boss guarding the castle is made up of your own friends. Welcome back to the semifinals of the North American League. I'm Jacob, he's Laxing, he is Jesse. We are finally at the point where somebody is qualifying for the Manchester Major, but it's like we said back when they played before, it's old M80 and new M80 with a little bit of XZ mixed in there.
I just want to say, that was a beautiful intro. That was a beautiful intro, but this is the game that I'm most hyped for. These are two Titans that are going against this for the spot to go get some beans on toast, and when they met up recently, it was a very close match. It was a super close match.
Yeah, and both these teams obviously are teams that we want to be seeing doing well. Obviously, M80, brand new roster. They've been putting things together. They've come out of the gate swinging. Yeah. They look very, very good through these recent couple of games. And for Oxygen, they didn't go to a single major last year. They consistently fell short.
They ran out of oxygen.
They ran out of oxygen. That's a good one. But now it feels like they got their final breath of life. It feels like they may be able to clinch the major.
They were fighting an uphill battle close to the end of the stage, and M80 felt like they were coasting a bit up until the stage itself ended. When they played earlier, it was 8-6, and it was really close because back then it was number 1 versus number 2. Now we come in, it's number 2 versus number 3. M80 had a game yesterday. We haven't seen OXG play in about 7 days since their last matchup, so the last time they played was against this team, so we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to take it or you want to take this boy?
Listen, I mean, I think for M80 coming through to this one is a little bit tough just because, Auction have not only played in a week, as you said, Jacob, but the last time they played, they weren't really playing like themselves. They didn't play to the highest of their abilities. So it's really going to be a test of, do Auction come out and they still have those troubles that we saw from a week ago? Or, and I think this is more likely, they're going to come out, they're going to have fixed their issues, they're going to be playing like a better squad than what we've seen previously.
Dive on that first, because for a team that had an undefeated streak and set a record in the best of one stage for not losing for their first 5 games, the fall off was pretty immense at that point. 3 straight losses to close the stage out, and they still managed to secure a top 2 spot because of the way that game against M80 ended, but it's still a skid. Even though Gomez in an interview said the best of ones don't matter in there as much, I think there are some people that would beg to disagree if you lose 3 straight.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? A 3-game losing streak for a team that was once thought of as the best inside of North America just a couple of weeks ago due to how good they were at the early part of the group stage in the NAL. I think for me, this team really comes down to the spearheads. I think guys like Gomez and Newers are critical to Oxygen's success. If they're not finding those opening points for the team, they really have been struggling to land those rounds. So I want to see them showing up today, but also you always got to think about the backlines too. Diaz, Dream coming through, Yaga for sure. These are players you really want to see doing well.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, you were talking about the brotherhood. I mean, Kino, Yag, Diaz, not Newers, Gomez. Like all these guys.
Throw some Spoit in there,
all these guys have so much history together, and now they're going against each other. And now it's going to be a position of you're going to Manchester, whoever wins this. And if you're Oxygen, you want to return to this game, into this rematch, and come out on top. You want to prove that you are better than M80 with how M80's been improving as well. And I think with what you said, Oxygen is going to come into this game. They're going to learn after that game that they just most recently came from. That wasn't the great showing. That again, I think it really is going to come down to the spearhead of Newers and Gomez really leading the forefront of that and hopefully getting some ground.
They were doing such a good job creating space and entering at the very start of the stage. Talk about how they enter and how they respond to getting entry.
Well, this is what's going to be really interesting for the community that I want to watch, that both these teams, they are both rated 2nd and 3rd for opening conversion. Obviously, M80 is sitting at that 70%. They run away with that round every time they can get that first pick. Then they go on the recovery end. They fall into that 3rd and that 39%. But then you look over at Oxygen. They run away with a 69%, falling underneath M80. But then you look at the recovery, and again, they're under 50% here, but these guys are the ones leading it outside of Beast Coast that isn't here. But again, it's at that 40%. So this is going to be a game of who's going to get that first kill and possibly convert that into another kill, or you're going to watch and see if they can now turn that man disadvantage into a game or one round.
Yeah, broadly a 30% difference on win percentage based on whether you get that opening pick or not. That is massive. The entries are going to be so critical. So we're seeing guys like Spoit battle guys like Newers. That will be key.
I'm curious if that matchup that we spent so much time highlighting in their best of one that just didn't come to fruition actually happens here. Newers versus Spoit. And on Spoit's end, it's been a phenomenal stage. Only dropped 2 maps over the course of the round robin. And when they transitioned into a best of 3 against Space Station, it was lights out. It was mostly taking advantage of all the different mistakes that Space Station were making over the course of that series. And it was a really quick... That series went by faster than DZLG did by a landslide.
Listen, so did my prediction. prediction. I mean, my prediction went out the window as well. But M80,
that was the game that basically lost Laxley in this title.
Yes, absolutely. I already submitted my GGs that I'm not getting that belt anymore.
Aww.
But nonetheless, M80 has been a team that I've been happy with this new iteration. I always felt that they needed a strong IGL, and I think with Cameraman joining that they've been seeing that. There's been multiple instances that we've been seeing the adaptations that maybe we weren't seeing from the old M80, and I think Cameraman is a huge contributor to that. And then also the backline of Noodle, of Kino, and then the spearheads of Spoit and Citizen have been performing phenomenally as a team together, and that we're seeing this improvement throughout and possibly now going to Manchester.
I mean, I'm really learning that this desk for some reason just loves the word spearhead. Literally every time we have a chance to say it, we're always going to use it. But talk about a guy who can do both. He's either at the front or the back. He's been a Swiss Army knife for most of this team in one of the best stages he's probably ever had. That's Kino.
Yeah, and I think Kino has been recently playing more kind of in those back lines, and I like that a lot. You can go all the way back to the Atlanta Major. This is a round where they're playing on bank basement, and Kino is playing on the smoke. Usually that's a very kind of passive operator, but they've got this really complex defensive strategy. They're roaming top floor, mid floor, and Kino's job in this setup, way back at the Atlanta Major, was to hold down Archives. And you can see he kind of struggles in this role. He's still making site setups, 2:20 on the clock, still trying to set his team up for success, but when he gets into a gunfight inside of Archives, he really does struggle. And you talk about Kino being a player that can get involved in the early round or the late round. When he's involved in the early round, especially back during the Atlanta Major, in my opinion, the low point of Kino's career, he struggled. He died in that death. You didn't quite miss it, but he goes down as the opening death. You compare that to yesterday's game on bank, where he's playing so well on smoke bank basement, able to go for the flanks late round when he's the last alive, able to lock things down with the Toxic Babes. I think the improvement from Kino has been incredible across the major lands that we've seen throughout the stages and throughout the years, and it's been great to see him kind of stay on the same operator, stay on the same sites, but alter his playstyle so much and find so much success off of it.
He's having an improving stage. I think when we saw Citizen play for Sonics, we always thought maybe he could push himself a little bit further. By the end of SI, he did. Now that he's playing for M80, it feels like he's on a whole other level.
Well, I mean, Bank specifically. I mean, we were talking about Spoit, we were talking about Ash, and we were talking about the wrong player. We completely missed
We should have
Michael
touched
Jordan
on this
in that
dude,
game.
yeah.
No, the Bank game from Citizen was phenomenal. I mean, we even talked to him in that interview. I asked him specifically, when you're finding yourself in those man disadvantages, how do you end up playing that? And he said just off intuition, off team communication, trying to find, you know, where the opening is in the site or the round or where players are missing, and he can take those entries and like fights right here. Like, I don't know how he's winning these and getting away with these rounds. Like, and this shot right here, how do you know that? Like, Citizen came into full fruition of this team where I was questioning in the beginning if him and Noodle could find that, and he's found it.
Yeah, Citizen had an EPS of 157 in map 1, 134 in map 2. Those are both higher EPSs than he's had throughout the entire season so far. Those are his 2 best games that he has played. And I don't know if it's the difference in land facility. I don't know if he's just powered up. I don't know if it's all about the stakes. Now that we're in the best of 3s where things matter more than ever, he's popping off. But whatever the case is, now is when we're seeing Citizen show up, and now is when we're seeing him really put on the pressure against his opponents. If he can play like he did yesterday in this match against Oxygen, I would be very afraid for the guys in green.
Again, it's going to come down this game specifically is going to come down to those opening engagements and then those recoveries. If they can, either of these teams can do that. I think regardless of what maps we go to, it's really going to come down to those first initial engagements and how the rest of those rounds are going to play out. That sounds obvious in most cases, but both these teams are leading in those categories or right underneath each other. So it's even more pivotal that these teams are taking advantage of these opening engagements.
I can just appreciate how some players who aren't involved in the X-Set M80 OXG bromance are also making themselves known in a series that's going to be as close as this one. Prior to going to Manchester, we sat down with both teams to see what they thought of this matchup. Thanks very much, Dream. Really appreciate the good words about your opponents.
It happens.
It usually does.
I think he said they got lucky last game. This time we're coming out. We're really going to show what we're worth.
For a game that was as close as that one, when you lose to an opponent on an 8-6 razor-thin margin, what do you do when you face them again? Like, do you have a chip on your shoulder knowing you lost by that close, or do you just try to forget it?
Don't ask me that question, because I said this about SSG. I said, SSG, hey, they lost Consulate. They're going to come back to this. They're going to be better. They got worse. So ask Jesse that. Jesse, what do you do as the former former experienced analyst. Well, not former experienced analyst. The analyst and the former player.
In my many years of pro play, I typically would like to run it back, okay?
Yeah.
I think not only would I let them pick it, I'd pick it myself. And as we see from M80 here, they've left it open. So Chalet, I mean, still on the board for these two squads. We'll see if it does get picked. I didn't think they would ban it just because, and there it is, M80 going to go for the pick. I didn't think it would get banned out just because it was so close on the previous engagement. I thought they would both want a rematch, and there it is, of course, first map up.
No, it's always good to get a rematch in. And again, like I said, as a losing team, you do. I'm gonna say this again: as a losing team, you do take from it and can adjust going forward into the next. Now it's a question of what is the next map gonna look like for Oxygen. I think regardless, Clubhouse is going to get banned out of here. So then it leaves up to be Cafe.
I'm just curious why you guys were saying that this was a rematch when they literally played Clubhouse before and not Chalet.
Was it Clubhouse?
It was Clubhouse.
All right, well, now you confused me.
We watched Chalet yesterday, but...
That's my L. Apologies for that. Well, Clubhouse still could come up here, and again, with how close it was.
Still a good map, Chalet, for M80, nonetheless. Cafe is a really great map for Oxygen.
You like that one. We were talking about that one in the back.
We talk about spearheads. This is a map that's a top-down. Your spearheads are going to be leading this charge, and it's really going to come down to that specifically. Of the Newers and Gomez are going to have to be leading this because this is exactly how Cafe is played. Then it's a decider of... What's this last map going to be?
It's Bank or Labs.
Okay, so I'll say this right now. I think both these teams are hoping they can get a quick 2-0, and Nighthaven is the absolute last resort for both teams.
It might be.
I don't think both teams necessarily want to play, but they're comfortable enough to play. But I think both teams really want to secure 2-0, given these map bans.
Yeah, Nighthaven's a little bit of scary. We've seen very little play from these squads on this map, especially with recent times and with the current rosters. So Nighthaven Labs would be a rough one to go to. I think going onto Cafe, that's another one where I like Oxygen's prospects on it, just because it can be one where sometimes you can afford yourself some roams, but it can be harder to get back to site sometimes. It can be harder to play as unexpectedly just because it's very obvious the spots you're going to be in. But, I mean, starting on Chalet as well, this is one of my favorite maps. You can get a lot of those good window plays, and, yeah, it should be fun.
Foxing's already decided that he wants the M80 pick. Is there anything, Jesse, for you specifically, because you have the higher percentage of you and Lax, the best shot of knocking Fox off that perch? Do you like Oxygen enough to take them here? I don't like that face.
No. I just don't like the way Auction played last week. I know they've probably been working on the stuff in the back lines. I'm sure they have, but I just M80, the way they played yesterday, I think was too strong. If Citizen's putting up those numbers, we expect Spoit to put up those numbers. Kino's playing better. I think M80's the better team right now.
Really relying on the hot streak.
Okay, well, I mean, I already submitted my forfeit, but since you guys are going M80, I'm just going to pick Oxygen, and maybe there's a chance that I can come back, but I don't really see that happening. But regardless, I'm picking Oxygen here. I think they want that rematch. They want that win. And they want that Manchester and beans on toast.
That's the main thing that they're fighting for at this point. Hey, all I'm saying is if the guys on M80 win, we will have Brits confirmed for Manchester before any Brits from the European League actually do it themselves. So let's see if they get the chance to fight at a major in front of a home country crowd. Let's do this thing. It's OXG and M80. I have no idea who's going to win this series. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's Stokes and Nick. We're getting ready for M80 versus Oxygen over here. And let me tell you, we have a banger of a series in front of us. Now, the real question is, Pangy, do you think it goes the distance? I know I'm hitting you with the questions right out the gate, but you said yourself, while looking at these maps, it might be a 2-0, but the real question is for you. First of all, in what direction? And again, is it going to be that quick?
I don't know, so going into this before seeing the maps, I was like, okay, 2-1 for M80. I feel like they've been ramping up, whereas OXG slightly ramping down in recent performance. But then we see the maps, Chalet into Cafe. If M80 can come out the victor here in Chalet, I could totally see a 2-0 for them, because I feel like, again, M80, they got things figured out right now. They've been looking better and better play by play, and we saw them play yesterday, but like, okay, they have a really good read on their opponents. They're playing quick, they're playing in your face, they're playing in an annoying play style. And I feel like OXG can be an emotional team at times. If you can get underneath their skin and bother them enough, you're gonna be in their heads. So M80, they might have that mental advantage if they can get that ball going.
Absolutely the case, especially on a map like Chalet, something that can be a little volatile, especially if you go for some more grandiose plays on defense, right? Maybe get some good cutoffs established, just get in the heads of some more of these high-flying players. Just have to see how it eventually breaks down here, but M80 is going to be playing things out on the offensive side, which does beg the question, how does Chalet usually play out? We've seen it quite often here when it comes to North America. It's had 5 plays so far overall. 54% defensive win rate with 45 rounds. Our most successful bomb site, Nick, going to be 73% on kitchen dining, which honestly, not too big of a shock. The one shock to me here is honestly going to be bar gaming having a 37% defensive win rate.
Yeah, that's why I was saying wow when you said kitchen, because I was like, oh, bar's gonna be those, right? Like that's usually the case domestically, internationally. Bar defense, so many ways to go about it. You extend upstairs, you can play utility, shields, etc. The bomb site is hard to rush, etc. So yeah, kitchen being that bomb site is a surprise to me. But NAL for this stage has had a couple of different anomalies where you don't expect the bomb site that is doing the best to be the one doing the best. Bank has that same star when Park and I, we worked it yesterday. So NAL is a bit of a toss-up. OXG, they're gonna play it like we know. They're gonna extend across the map. Castle barricades galore. Without camps for possible C4s. M80, they were hovering a potential rush strat. They were showing us the Blitz for quite some time. Of course, they got the Grim and the Finca. But last moments in that attacker repick phase, they went off the Blitz to a more conventional anti-util lineup. They bring out the Force and Citizen. He can deal with castle barricades, or if they pick any of the purple shields, which we know that there are no shields. It's just pure impact grenades and a single C4 on the defense.
Well, M80 going to be bringing out a pretty solid set of ops here, I'd say. Making sure that they definitely have that hard breach available to them. Does free things up a bit across the board too, so don't have to think too much about your life at the end of the day. Maybe if you're Habana, but the other two will just be there as redundancy to make sure that things do swing through. And see M80 taking their time as well. They understand that Oxygen really want to try and play for full map control. The run out, they're prepared, but Gomez, the shot's wide up until the very last second. Spoit's in the area with a mad dash. He'll take off his head.
It's a trade to a 4v4, so nobody gains any big significant advantage right now. And Chalet, very much like Border, for example, comes down to gunfights and those mini executes across the map. I would say a 1-for-1 trade, the way it happened, is pretty good for M80. The only downside, like you brought up earlier, that is the primary harbinger of Hibana now in the grave. Kino and Cameraman, they brought backup though, both bringing can openers, so if any walls were to get opened up, that can still happen, although be it from melee, not from range.
M80's stunted right now after this initial volley goes back and forth. Even keeled, but the map control on Oxygen's favor clearly right now as they position themselves over the top of the site. What a position to be in. It's going to try and assist with this, but I don't know that everybody's already tried to make a mad dash down that blue stairwell. For the most part, there are a couple people still in the area, but they're going to look for greener pastures when it comes to these angles.
There's a lack of deployable shields, of course, keep it barriers. We see there the forest drone takes it down, so now Yogg's position a bit more exposed. He can flash, grenade, or something like that, or walk in, take those confrontations. Boy, we know he can be so good in the entry, and this round is an entry round.
Now, big moment here for Spoit. He's going to swing off the double. He'll get taken out by Yogg, who will stand very stalwart inside of blue, and it's actually quite a calm round here. Yeah, kind of a storm, but it's really some dust, and they got some goggles to be able to see through this. M80. Not doing too well. Not really hot to trot coming out the gates. And OXG, not only capable of battling back with that initial aggressive play there from Gomez, but being able to keep things kosher on that top floor, keeping things balanced, making it where M80 does have to respect that map control, and obviously making an error as they try to clear it, put them into this position. Now the first round more than likely going Oxygen's way because of it. Kino has to feed himself to the walls. He'll be the first one to fall. They know where the second one's coming from. It'll be the bar door. Yes, and Oxygen with the very first round and a very successful defense. I'll be that.
And that kind of shows the strength of Bar as a bomb site for the defenders. You don't have to worry about a lot of gaps being left open because everything's on the lock and key. You're holding blue staircase, top mezzanine/library, and then you have people inside the bomb site, making sure nobody sneaks in past, the bar door, for example. But that's the only bomb site I would argue that plays out that way on Chalet for defense, because usually there will be gaps. There will be an opportunity to fly in a door, fly in a window, go for a flank, or surprise the defenders, and that's what we're waiting for M80. Cameraman in particular, we need to watch him in these rounds, because sometimes he will put himself in the middle of like an odd position. He'll be in the middle of the bomb site, middle of the room, he'll just be jumping in the window, distracting their opponents to enable the rest of the M80 players to get those engagements. When Cameraman did it yesterday, he was playing Dokkaebi. those global gadgets. Right now in the first 2 rounds, he's been on more utility roles so far for Cameraman. He was Grim in the very first round. Now he's hovering Sophia. Kino goes on Dokkaebi instead. So maybe Chalet is not going to be played up the same way of Bank for M80. This could be a more conventional approach. Try and play the 5 versus 5. But with how things open up, OXG they show that they want to fight M80 early on and try and stop them from achieving their goal of getting to the bombs up with 5 attackers alive. They want those early kills.
I was just about to touch on the flexibility of that, their capability of, throwing those operators around to really anyone, and everybody being able to play up to snuff, right? But you can say the same about Oxygen, because you can clearly see right here, right? They're going to change up the pace. That's what we're going to see. We see this clash come in. We see Tubarao come in, as well as the castle. They're going to try and force M80 to slow down and make some mid-round audibles to get around a lot of these hard points that Oxygen are producing.
I really like that. Because now, defense, it's hard to control the pace of a round because what can you really do? But look at this, Noodle might just walk in, they see the clash, they're like, oh no boys, what are we gonna do about this one?
Big swing here. Spoit will be able to take down one with the LMG. Citizen to tag along as well. And yeah, Oxygen, they think they can force M80 to pump the brakes, but nobody's paying attention to the front door. They'll finally fire back. Gomez with 2. Citizen will take down 1 and another one to fall from Trophy because M80, even a storm, even if it's hailing outside, they'll still have somebody set up, holding things down, playing patiently. Successful round from M80, a cataclysmic delivery on that top floor. Not a single person aware of 2 people just rolling their way through piano. And now it's down to Diaz in a 1 versus 3.
They're just stopping him out. They're droning, they're sitting back, they got half the round to work with. Diaz was pumped up on adrenaline. Clutch time, baby, get that 1v3. No, M80, they don't even give him a fight. This is the 3rd drone just looking for his position again. Just waiting. Stalling it out, taking it slow, 3, 2, 1, then they're gonna go.
Diaz as the answer for potentially 1. He'll tag him up, but it's an even trade back and forth. He has the other angle working against him as well. Target-rich environment, but it's gonna go the way of M80. Very well done. Is that top, that top floor clear, man, that was very convincing. I love the fact, especially that we set it up the way that we did, right? We're both like, oh, that utility looks like it's going to be able to lock down these walls. There's going to be so many different hoops they're going to have to be forced to jump through. And they're like, well, what if we just knocked all the hoops over?
Exactly, and that's the thing, like, this is why I think M80, they're an annoying team to play against, because they don't really obey by the typical rules of Rainbow Six Siege, where, defense, we're gonna try and control the pace, either go for spawn peaks, that's aggression, that happened first round, right? Gomez with the run out, and then second round, OHD, completely different approach, slowing it down as much as possible. Kaid, Castle, Clash, Tubarao, and then M80, they don't go, okay, we need to play Maverick, we gotta play, the Thatcher, we gotta breach the walls, we gotta deal with the Clash. No, just run through piano double door, pass the utility, and go for gunfights. And it's that round that I would show to fans watching, rather, and go, this is classic M80 in their current iteration. They will just see a gap, they will go for it, and all 5 players, without hesitation, will go for that play. Spot had interview yesterday, we was talking about, like, the synergy in the teams, and, Citizen, Spoit, and Noodle, they go way back, years in Europe. They play together in ranked, in like tier 2, tier 3 tournaments, etc. Like they're friends. And then you have somebody like Citizen, who's been playing with Kino. So all of a sudden you have like these links of synergies across the board. And then Cameraman's the odd one out, but he's the captain, he's the agile, he calls the shots, and he will put himself in a bad position to better his teammates. So the synergy really is the big strength here for M80 as a team right now, and it's really showing already here in the second round.
Yeah, and honestly, I love the addition to Cameraman here because, in my personal opinion, when it comes to something like this, you really want that odd man out, that oddity in a position like that because they're able to make everything mesh. They have that outside point of view. There's no opinion on that. He doesn't know anybody from the word jump. He's just like, okay, I've recognized that these people are good at this and these others are good at this, and this is how we're going to go about it. That's perfect. And it's worked beautifully for them. As long as they're trusting the system, which they clearly are, and they're trusting Citizen, as we always are. Citizen for 2. Can he get 3? He knows he's close. EBR in hand. And what the hell is M80 doing? This is incredible. Oxygen seemingly prepared for something like this, something along these lines. You can see all of the different things they bring inside of this defensive kit, Nick. They bring all of the traps. They bring Warden, but none of it matters. They perform essentially the same thing that we saw on that top floor clear, but this time on basement, walking down main stairs.
And it's finding the gap, right? The Goyo Fire Cannons was popped on the main breach. Citizen, he runs down the main staircase instead. There's nobody watching the entry path there at all because they thought the Goyo Fire is going to buy us 20 seconds, guys. Don't worry about it. But again, they see an opportunity, they go for it. And to correct myself, not Citizen and Kino played together, Sport and Kino played together before. So again, they got that synergy. And again, it shows. Yeah, you have one player down the blue staircase, but it sets everything up for success in the round. It's important that when you play professional levels of any game that you are a selfless player sometimes. Where you say, you know what, I might be maybe the star player of my team, I might be the entry, or I might be the most clutch or whatever, I should be last alive. But no, sometimes you have to put yourself last and go, guys, I will die in this position, but you will win the round, and it's all that matters.
Yep.
If you worry about your KD, you worry about your kills, that's being selfish. You're playing for yourself and how you're doing, and it's not how you get the furthest in the world as a team. That's playing selflessly for the greater good of the round.
Yep. Best metaphor that one of my buddies used was it's all a casino. You just got to figure out what to chip, and that's really the best way to look at it. You got to figure out the prices of all these things, including your life in Siege, like you said, because sometimes you have to bet it on that and be like, I trust my team to be able to bring us through on the other side. That's what Gomez did in that very first round. That's all that is. It's all trust, because he knows when he re-enters that building, guys, he's playing against professional players. He should not make it back out of Big Garage. That's just the reality of the situation. So, there's just these things that you kind of live with, kind of like these rushes from M80, but this time, Oxygen are not asleep at the wheel. They will get traded out instantaneously, and my God, M80, this gas pedal, it's shoved through the floor. I don't even think a floorboard exists. It's been obliterated. Oxygen, specifically Yaga, now left holding this baton on the top floor. He's going to rotate back towards Laundry, or rather, Library.
Tough one. A trade back. Diffuser case cold on the ground now, so they got to slow things down. Of course, upstairs is not the bomb site, but rather that is kitchen downstairs, but they got what they wanted. Now they can rotate Cameraman and Bog upstairs to the master bedroom, break apart this floor, get the hatch opened up, establish those flank drones. They have 4 left alive, and then they can maybe rotate Noodle over with the Dokkaebi, hack those phone camera, gain access to the Valve cams, in which DS has one in pocket still, by the way. So this is going to be a slow round. M80, again, don't gotta take any risks. It's OXT's time to, like Yogi did there, run out, go for a swing, or simply wait for the time to tick down. There's so much time left, 1 minute 30 seconds. OXT almost have to get a kill somewhere, or slowly feel like they're losing all their win conditions as the Fortress appears above them.
Frostman, really?
Yeah, I think both you and I had a flashback for a second of old Zoph being able to pick herself up off the ground as that gunfire flies over her head, but let's be the Frostman instead. Now that does mean Cameraman will not be able to run for the foreseeable future either. Citizen's gonna end up going down, or rather taking out Yaga. Gonna give M80 the man advantage. This is the beauty of the scenario that they've laid in front of us. Is that earlier death match that essentially we had in between these two teams. M80 is allowed to use the rest of this time to really whatever convenience they really want to their leisure. Oxygen are forced to kind of try and hold on to things battered and bruised, and in a man count like this, it just becomes more exploitable for M80. Yeah, the drone count isn't exactly great, but they've had these 4 drones active for so very long, so they're clearly in very important locations as Kino and Sploit have been flying around those. Teams have been discovered as well. Nice find, but it's gonna be DS that strikes first out of nowhere. He comes up the stairwell, able to gun down Cameraman. With 20 seconds remaining, Oxygen are pulling ahead. It's all down to Noodle. They know where Dream at least is. He'll fight one on the stairwell, and he's got 10 seconds. He's got enough time to try and fight this. He'll run back up top. The gunfight from Dream. It's a self-discovering moment, but it'll be able to be discovered. Oxygen, Dream, what a moment. So be able to take that round and sweep it under the rug. It was a little scary there for a split second as M80 had so much time to be able to process what was in front of them.
A little bit of a scary position there for M80. They allowed Dream to just thrive instead of dying. They never opened up the floor with the block, likely because they didn't know if Fireplace Library was clear. Maybe the flank drone didn't cover that portion, so they didn't want to risk going to office and breaking apart the verticality. But then Dream is in a really powerful position to lock down the bottom side, stopping the push from M80. Chalet is an awkward map right now, I feel like, for the side swap, because sometimes it's attacker favored, sometimes it's defender favored. We can look at stats for like a single region or overall and go, well, on average, it is this. But it really comes down to the individual teams in play, the operator bands, etc. So it's really hard for me to say, oh, M80 should only get 2 attacker rounds, then they'll be fine. I feel like this is just a 3-3 half. That's like what the the tone is gonna be. You're gonna take this off, 3-3. The team that can pull ahead on the side swap, they're gonna come out the victor. And this very well could be like one of those, 7-5s, or potentially maybe overtime.
100%. We've had these kind of maps in the history of Rainbow Six, haven't we? We've had things, like Consulate.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I always think of from back in the day. It was all about, can you hold full map control? And if you can't, you're gonna get rolled. That's just how it is. So there's just maps that are a real teeter-totter like that. If you cannot, figure out a way to apply yourself successfully to a proper side, sometimes it just will not ever bend its whim. So we'll see if that has to be a new addition here for Chalet, as we usually trend offensive favored on this map, but so far it has been back and forth. M80 having a few things to say, at least with that 2-round run we saw him go on, but now this is where the rubber truly hits the road. Both of them have had time to make their adjustments. We've got 2 rounds now here for this side before we enter that half that Pengu was just talking about. So what can they do? Can they get these nades in to try and assist with this balcony position? Citizen's gonna try and assist as well as Dream is getting bombarded. It is a full-on airstrike coming into his position, but not dead just yet. In fact, very alive and still willing to take a gunfight.
That's impressive. 4 grenades, 1 capsule fire, a couple of flashbangs. I mean, and he's still like, what, 35 health or so, give or take? And maybe they really wanted to get that kill. They needed that to like start progressing in towards library. Now they're kind of locked out, and then plan B has to be being set in motion. They gotta either into the building, into the library, the window jump-ins. Neither favorable spots to be in. I think Dream gave up mezzanine. I think somebody made it, or Oxygen rather, they fell back, so no, he's still there. Again, troubling sign from the attack. They can't quite get in.
And it's slow right now, Nick. Let's be honest. This is something that's probably a very good move from M80, especially in according to how these last 2 rounds have went. You really want to try and mess with this pacing. Also does set you up for the future too, because this round goes bad doesn't mean they can't try and do something different on round 6. Minute remaining. Things get so scary when it's a 5 versus 5. This timer continuing to tick down. It's like, oh, we're about to have so many gunfights. When will they pour over? That's a real question. Maybe have some solid positioning on this top floor. It's actually gonna be Gomez to strike out of left field. We'll take out Spoit. We did see him flirting with the double as well as Mud there for a little while, so it must be where things have went down. They're trying to make sure that there's no rotation coming through here. We still have Dream positioned on this top floor. This man is staying alive, living on a dream. Is that drone will pour in? He'll finally go down, but he's existed there for practically 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I think he's done his damn job. Gomez, what is that? Blessed. That's all we can say. It's a 3 versus 4. M80, they haven't done anything. They can't hold a candle to Oxygen. They've snuffed them out. They've kept them at the gates this entire time, but no way. They can't get this done, right? They'll fight back. Oxygen, Diaz with 2. The SMG-12 will eat as Oxygen will claim 3.
So much chaos in this server, and it really comes down to M80 had a very clear goal in the round. They couldn't get it done. They could not clear Dream from that position for, as you said, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and that single-handedly wins OXC the defense round. This is why bar is so complicated. There's no easy way to problem solve. Either you brute force by jumping in those windows, and it's gonna get messy, and you're gonna come out ahead. Or you can play util game. But again, 4 nades, 2 capsule fires, 3 flashbangs, a ton of different drones. Dream still alive. That's just one of those insane value moments from a single player just baiting out so much utility and the attacker is not getting anywhere with that. M80, they are in this position though. They can still make it a 3-3 half. They're attacking basement downstairs, and last time it was effortless. Citizen sprints down the main staircase, gets a 3 inside of blue. Round is basically over. OXC got a very similar setup. They're playing the extensions of Bartler, they rotate, got those Goya fires as well to like stall out any potential like fast push or plant, for example. And then maybe they're going through that attacker repick motion. 5 different operators being attacker repick right now, making sure they got the perfect setup. They got hard destruction for bomb site. They got roam clear and jackal. They got verticality in the ram. They got global ability from Dokkaebi. They can attack directly. They can roam clear. They can do destruction. They can approach this in a very flexible manner. the one thing that we actually haven't talked about as well, Kino is 0-5. M80 are playing a 4v5 right now because he simply has not booted up in the kill score department so far.
Yeah, and that's the craziest thing about it, right? Is for Kino, this stage has looked like a completely different ordeal for him. He has been lighting the world on fire, almost on an individual basis at sometimes too. And it's been really, really awesome to see, especially as he's found that consistency. But as you said, 0-5 to kick things off is not exactly the best way to start things, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this round is the fire starter for something. Just off some drones to try and assist, but as you said, Nick, it looked like they want to use that kit that you were discussing and try and clear things down from the top floor. Use these logic bombs, use Spoit here on this Jackal, try and get maybe some verticality on a roamer, but end game, try and get fireplace under their hands, get those boogies down, and get that floor stripped.
Yeah, they really want the 5 versus 5. That's the big thing. Like, less chaos, no, like, weird deaths happening. They want to get to the bomb site, 5 attackers alive, get their angles covered, get the walls opened up, and go for that bomb site execute. That's what they're playing for. OXG, though, they had that early roaming presence, playing bar, blue staircase, but now the Urus have dropped down. They surrendered the map. In terms of roam game at the halfway point, but with this floor, it's all gone. The one thing they need right now is just flank drones on all the staircases and start droning the bomb site, see if they can get a pick or two, then go for that bomb to execute. And again, really quick pace for the attack. They got over a full minute to work with, and they've done everything they need to go for that execute whenever they want to.
Look at this positioning from Oxygen. This is what I'm loving right now, Nick. This basement position is so hard when the floor starts getting stripped away, but Oxygen, you can see just how much time they have. Making sure that they work their way around those angles. Ensure that M80 cannot get any of these easy picks. Instead, the shoot's on the other foot. Player that we usually see popping off for M80 now down in the dirt. It's Citizen. It's up to the rest of his roster to try and pull this round across the line. It will have some time to adjust. We'll drop down to the breach. Kino in full view here, so more than likely put a plant down on maybe trash, maybe the breach. What's he want to do here? Let's try and step up. They'll get one on blue, but in transition, Gomez will take a life. Spoit has to hold on to blue. They'll look for this plant now. Where's Noodle? Has to be holding an angle off to the right. There's no way Gomez will be able to take him out, but that plant's going to go down. It's going to be all up to Spoit in a 1 versus 4 to try and claim this. I don't really think he's going to pull it away from Oxygen. So many angles to work, and yes, one of the best fraggers in the world, but a lot of talent sitting right across from him too. He's gonna peek out, he'll get 1, he'll get 2, almost transitions to the window. It's gonna be the wall that kills him instead. Diaz, Oxygen, very well done as they'll lock things up on that basement site. And Nick, I cannot understate enough how they worked around that top floor presence. I mean, especially around Wine Man, things get so complicated as a defender as soon as those angles start opening up.
I really think Neurus is like the unsung hero of the round there for sure. Like getting the opening kill onto Citizen, just not caring about the breach being open, the floor, the hatch. He says, you know what, I'm gonna try and find the 1v1. I'm gonna do my best to win it. I'm gonna put my team in a better position because of it. And then I really respect the 2v4 attempt there. Getting down the diffuser for Kino and Spoit, let's not lie there. Super winnable once you got that 2k. He had the exact read. He knew the locations of the enemy players. But again, when there's 4 against 1, it is not a fair fight in the slightest. But still, came down to the wire. Scorelines is 2-4, but this really could have been 2-4 for M80. It could have been 3-3. It could have been what it is right now, 4-2 for OXG. So many small things every single round.
All right, well, we actually have a listen-in with Jesse J. Check. We'll check in on things and see what he's thinking about M80 being down 2 rounds right now as Oxygen are taking over the helm on offense. Jesse, what's going on that big brain of yours?
Well, Stokes, I wanted to come to you because I wanted to touch on that Nomad ban that M80 brought out at the start of the game. Obviously, that is, I think, maybe the first time we've seen a Diaz Lucas target ban going on against OXG. Last time Oxygen played Chalet, it was against Sonics early on the stage, and Diaz played the Nomad 4 out of 6 rounds, primarily putting those air jabs either inside of Library to stop somebody going up and denying the half-wall plant, or just outside the buildings to stop the jump out. So I want to just draw your attention to that quick. Take note in the second half what Diaz is playing on the attack, and also if anybody on M80 tries to get aggressive, going for jump outs, pushing up inside of Library to take advantage of the lack of air jabs on the board.
Really like what you're saying here, my friend. They have that zero, some old Oxygen tropes starting to come out here, some Redeemer things, I would say. Thanks for checking in with us, Jesse. I really appreciate you, my friend. And what are you thinking about that there, Peggy? Do you think the Nomad's going to affect him on this flank watch?
I think there's a possibility, and I was thinking to myself, okay, so maybe they go into this with a specific attacker target then, right? Should we expect a better defense side from M80 than their attack scoreline? Because then still, this could be a very close game, despite the scoreline being at 2-4. So I like this, I like this zero as a substitute. I think it's a great adaptation, great prep work here from OXG.
Yeah, and if, some of our longer-standing fans will recall, this is an Oxygen special. There's no way. They're pulling an M80 on M80 Dreams in the door. You never see this out of this man either. Usually he's the patient player. He's the old head in this version of Oxygen, but instead he's the man with the plan. It's not the man with the case, though. That's going to be Yaga as he starts planting over in the corner, and yes, it's so free. NA, we usually call it free, but man, M80, they're looking so unbelievably free right now. Is Oxygen pulled across the line in brilliant fashion for their first offense.
Man, my prediction is looking real silly right now. 2-1 M80, 2-0 M80. OXG right now looking like the better team, dare I say it. And with that round as well, is that a tactical timeout? Yes, it is. M80, they gotta talk things through, and it's one of those, you play those close rounds in the first half. Okay, whatever, 2-4 is the scoreline. You go on to defense, and out of nowhere, and you said it perfectly, dream of all players, the hard player, support player, who normally doesn't really find himself in those front and forward positions, is in the side. Easy kill. They sit around. York jumps in the window. 5-5. They have library repel. Goes down. More or less a flawless round there from the first round for Works team.
It always sucks when we put our predictions in, and then in the very first game, I'm like, man, I trolled. Oh, dude. We might have trolled, Nikki. We might have trolled. I don't know. I really was feeling M80 coming in on this one. But Oxygen have not only came to, just play. They have also came to impress. This has been so very well done thus far on both sides of the coin. And not only that, I think their ability to match the pacing of M80, and not only that, give them so many different looks where they're still capable of dealing with this huge threat, because we cannot understate this enough about M80. There's so much talent jam-packed in this roster. It is absolutely insane. It's like practically the Pro Bowl for just one team. It's truly nuts. But Oxygen, where there's a will, there's a way, man. They have a lot of talent on this team, too. And although the talent of the stage was not looking too hot, they are damn ready for playoffs.
They certainly are. Now, best of threes, you got the first map that can play out on shore. We can talk about how, okay, this map pick was, M80s. It's that rematch, but that doesn't mean that M80 is supposed to win Chalet. Very much so she can just be the better team. But, oh, look at this. Tactical timeout, a double man spawn peek, jump out the window as well. They want blood, they want those early kills. They don't want OXG to feel safe in the map. Citizen, another player we're watching, got the job done. So they jumped out the office balcony window to force them to go, away from that position to the left. Citizen on the master double window instead has the crossfire in the lineup, and that's now Finger off the board to not help the Blitz now for this potential execute later on.
You know what's worse than one spawn peek? 3 twos, 3s.
Oh, no! What about a team kill?
Oh my god. There's no way. He's got to swing off this now. Dog, what have we done? We've put our entire entry into a body bag. We killed cameraman. That's great. That's grand. There's a lot to do here, though. Your Fink is already gone, and not only that, that's Gomez, who's been carrying y'all a little bit when it comes to the frag department. The guy's got 10 kills to his name. That's nothing against, everybody else here, but he's clearly been more than his weight into this. And now Oxygen have to try and hope. They have to try and pray that M80 walk into a few of these crosses, maybe give him another kill.
Yeah, but, it's based in bomb side. Yeah, all they got to do is stand still. Of course, players, they can get a bit, angsty and stop moving too much, but it's 2 roamers right now, 2 people playing side, so M80 are playing split. There is a possibility for isolation on the attack and side. They could take down the roamers, then it can be a 3v2 or a 2v2, for example. Will come down to gunfights. Top floor, impact on the floor. and watch Wasteman from above. Difficult situation to problem solve if you're OXG. You can't really breach, you can't really plant, you can't really hunt down the roamers. You're in a really awkward position in that basement portion of the map, and you feel boxed in. 1 minute to go, heroes with the rotate. You want Wasteman and trophy control to get comfortable on that bottom portion.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, oh wow. What else do you expect, though? I mean, hey, Diaz will be able to pick up Citizen. I'm still just gobsmacked that Spoit just body bagged that guy. That's just so unrealistic. That's one of those things where you're like, I wish I could do that, but I'll never be capable. Nice move here. Won't be able to find too much more, I don't assume. Noodle with a nice cross will be able to discover one, and yeah, Kino in blue. That was the big looking dagger that I was assuming would take over eventually here, and a nice little find. Kiki feeling as though he needs the hoodie on too. I feel that every once in a while. Sometimes the sleeves just help out with the mouse control, right? I mean, I think you would know something about a good hoodie when it comes to gaming.
Oh yeah, I mean, I had the whole, hoodie up, we're feeling good. And yeah, like temperature is very important, right? It cannot be understated, where you play in a small room sometimes, AC's running, you're feeling a bit cold in your hands. It's not a good feeling. You gotta be warmed up, and I mean, let's be completely blunt right now. If you're Kino, you haven't done a lot of warming up. You're 1-7, right? You haven't really done the same things as everybody else in the lobby, so you're cold in real life, you're cold in the server, things are not working out, but Kino does have that singular kill to his name now. He's doing okay, finding his footing up against OXG. Maybe they really need these rounds, because if they lose any of the upcoming ones, they're looking at match point against them, and then there is nothing left. Like, there's no parachute, right? You lose one round, it's over. Make one mistake, it's done for. And the biggest thing about avoiding match point for as long as possible is risk assessment. When you have these very aggressive players from M80 that are willing to like jump in a window, go for a spawn peek, it's all good and well on 0-0 round count because no one's winning or losing. But as the enemy starts building a lead, you might start playing less off your instincts and a little bit more passive. Oh, we might lose this round if I do it. What if I miss my shot? Whatever. So M80, they really want to get the second round, get the 4-5, start building back the round count numbers and make this a close series.
I'm curious as to what pacing M80 choose for this as well, because you look at their lineup, right, and you go, okay, this is something where they could try and build up around these zombies, build up around the clash, put some traps down, and then maybe just swing off the intel, right? But the key thing is here for Oxygen is that, unbeknownst to them, more than likely, they've actually brought a great lineup for this. This is fantastic. Look at the amount of dislodgement that they have. You've got the Zoe, you got the Capital, Ash to boot. I mean, there's so many different ways that they can go about this. Really excited to see how Oxygen are potentially going to start clearing things out. Looks like they want to try and at least build things up here from Library. But actually, we do have the keys to the castle over here, folks. So we're going to hop in on Oxygen's side and hear exactly how they want to go about this.
All right, guys.
Flash and piano, heard.
Yep.
We should honestly just get it, like, go windows, guys. Let's go big window. Let's just kill this clash somehow.
Yo, shoot the green cam, dude.
Wait, actually, no, let's kill the guy half wall, guys, and then we just rotate to the front take.
Game just cleared. Yeah, I'm gonna open half wall. Do we have flank set?
I got flanks, yep.
Yo, someone hold my piano swing. I need someone to hold my piano swing while I hip onto this, right?
And Nuke can hold it,
Saving the wall. Might need to make a flash.
I have a good master cam.
He's impact looking. I got it though, it's fine.
There's a guy playing con. Or closet, I mean.
I'm on the breach walkout.
Is he playing half wall?
I don't know, we need to join it.
Okay, I can run.
John it. One minute,
speed it up.
guys. Did he open the dining wall too, or no?
No, I have to get that next.
Yep, you have to go get it. Go get it now.
Yo, no one hit. Oh, he is half wall. He's tucked up. It's
All
warden
right, I'm
shotgun.
gonna fire him, okay? You guys ready?
Yeah, fire. I'm
Can
holding.
we hold him? 3,
Yep.
2,
Oh,
1.
he's trying to pick me.
Fired him.
On this run.
Still there. He's still there. He's on
Yeah,
the door.
corner.
Can't door. I
Yo,
think.
fire the door.
Fire the door.
Fire the door.
20 HP. Dude, I might be
guys.
down, bro. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I'm gonna rotate down then.
We're gonna have
45
this guy
seconds.
still in closet, bro.
I rotated down.
Yeah, we can just smoke the holes. We
Yeah,
can smoke the
no,
holes.
nice.
Good pick, nice.
Do we have flank camps? No. I'm just
I don't
holding
think
here.
it's
I'll
right
just hold up here.
Alright.
Can we just hold up top?
Yo, I
Yeah,
don't have any
We're
info
2 men up top,
outside.
right? Dude, we're 2 men up top. I'm staying outside K9,
Yo, I
alright?
don't have any info
I'm gonna
outside.
sit
If
right
we
here.
just smoke deep and go for it.
Guys, yeah. I'm gonna smoke.
I'm
Ready?
walking up. Yo, clutch this back to you. Swing. Nice.
Go play match.
Wait, on the
Go in.
I'm on
on the half wall.
25. He's ready to the smoke.
Apple dead.
Kitchen, right side. Kitchen, right side. Gotta go for the pick. Gotta go for a D. Kitchen, right side.
Catch a bomb.
Back catch.
Catch a bomb.
Back catch.
Nice
Nice try,
try.
bro.
You can see it on his face. Like a bandit in the night, Citizen robs around away from this roster. What the hell was that? Oxygen with a lot of opportunity there. And honestly, the initial volley that we saw, I didn't think it was too bad. I like the adjustment on the plant too. But I mean, the key thing there, Oxygen has so many bodies in the area, right?
Yeah. And I think the like very impressive thing about the communication is that there are so many requests on the side of OXG. Hey, I need you to hold this. Hey, fire that. I'm covering this. Hey, do we have a drone? Okay, guys, let's just go deep on site and smoke it out. It was constant problem solving on the fly, communicating on what you need. A lot of teams will just go like, what do we do here? And people go, I don't know. You know, they had things figured out. Love that for them.
Welcome mat deployed.
Curiosity, can you still hear Oxygen's comms?
I can, yeah. I'm not sure if the stream can, but I can. Oh, it's gone. There you go. Maybe I thought I was going crazy for a second. Am I hearing voices? You know?
I was just sitting here like, I think I'm patched into the wrong spot. I don't know where I'm at right now.
It's like, where
What
the server?
Exactly. I don't know if I got dragged into the wrong Discord or what happened, but yeah. So pretty interesting setup there. I really like how Oxygen was able to at least set themselves up on that top floor. They were able to game plan around dislodging Kino. The biggest issue there was how dang long that took, right? I mean, just trying to get those fire bolts in there. Things are misaligned. They can't exactly get things going for themselves in a timely manner. And then eventually they have to try and bolt us over onto the site. But I mean, just some really nice shots out of M80, pre-firing those default positions, and those bullets surely clip them.
It's always triggered dealing with a clash. In the current meta of Rainbow Six Siege, like the operators that you play on a given round, you only really see Capital being played, you know, right now that can kind of deal with clash. Nomad banned in this match, so that wouldn't happen. And then we don't see like a whole lot of Sophia, for example. That's kind of out of action. Grenades no longer like a meta, you know, secondary gadget because you can cook them longer.
Pangu? Let's talk about the real.
All right, no one plays Kali, Samuel. That is, it exists, but it doesn't really exist in actuality, you know? But I think it's a good point that you bring it up because I think Kali is low-key underrated, a little bit slept on. That secondary weapon is the FAMAS F2 from Twitch with 4 less bullets in terms of fire rate and damage. So, slept on operator for sure, in my mind.
It's true. It's true. That little pistol, it does some things, man. It really does. It's amazing.
Wait a second.
You sleeping for a while there, my friend, aren't you? That was a shot heard around the world. I think Spoint only expended 1 round out of that 9 mil.
Sounded like it.
Very intense. Very calculated. Kino's gonna be able to take me down 1-2. What is happening here? Walk in once again. And this has just been a routine theme between these two. Both of them more than capable of finding gaps. And once again, Oxygen, they found a gap so large that they get a plant down. 3, 2, yeah, it's done. And it's a 3 versus 3. Gomez almost turns on a man inside of Bar. Citizen, he's made it back, but this is one of the roughest post-plant positions in the game.
Surely not.
Come on.
Dump it out. Yep.
Has to. No big plays coming from the Frost. Can't find too much on the balcony. Diaz with yet another kill. Citizen, there's no way he gets through this. There's no way. Yep. 15 and 7 at that moment in time. And I'll be so real there for a split second, Nick. Totally forgot that you and I are both colors. I was like, oh yeah, we're both color commentators. I need to keep talking. Yes. Oh yeah, that is my job, isn't it? Oh my goodness. But yeah, as asleep as the wheel, you know, as I was, you can basically be the same way when it comes to the offense in that post plant. Everybody saw how easy that was. You don't really need commentary for that one. Because as soon as that goes down, I mean, it's got to be all hands on deck for M80. And the biggest thing is you really got to hope that somebody outside just really can't hit a pretty easy shot.
I mean, that round is pretty much done and dusted the second that OXG find themselves inside the bomb site and just like surprise M80 and overthrow them. And we saw 2 defenders coming up the blue staircase from the basement when the bomb was going down. So M80 caught very much in the wrong spot, but also that is not the first time that's happened. The first time M80 played Bar, the same thing occurred. Where it was Dream first and get that initial pick. Yogg jumps in the window, fire goes out, plant goes down, he jumps out, second fire goes through for the post plant. So the fact that OXG can do the same kind of attack 2 separate rounds on the same bomb site speaks to the lack of adaptability for Mady going, guys, what was the problem last time? Because last time, again, they just found a gap. And that has been the story, I think, of both teams on the attacking side. They are just droning things out, and they see where there is nobody covering, no barbed wire, for example, no blue mines, and that's where they strike every single time. And that is like a big, it's like, I guess it's a simple way to describe the current meta of the game, but it is like gap finding. Figure out where there's no defenders, take that spot, execute, and find that kill.
It's understanding of map pressure, honestly. You know, like understanding where positioning is, and it, you know, okay, well, if we put 2 bodies here and they have 1 body here, we obviously win things out more than likely in this trade. And then it goes right back to what you were talking about earlier. That applies over to the resources as well across the board. So it's really just about those gambles, how you want to place things. That we've heard a lot of defenses, you know, calling in for like listen-ins and stuff like that, or refer to things inside of a timeout as that as well. You know, formations. Hey, we're going to go for a 2-2-1. Hey, we're going to go for this. We're going to go for that. Yeah. That's exactly how things work, man. You're trying to stack these things so you know, first things first, how you're playing things out. It makes it much easier for, you know, communication and that kind of stuff when you're trying to set things up very quickly. But also on top of that, it makes sure you know that you have your value in the right places. And so far, Oxygen has definitely had their heart in the right place on top of that value. And like you said, finding these gaps, being able to exploit it time and time again. And yeah, we've seen some things from M80. We've seen them be able to find some gaps of their own, specifically for Citizen, but past that, things have been somewhat lackluster. They haven't been able to find a different gear, and at that, a successful gear has been working up against Oxygen. And ever since OXG's had this driver's seat, they've been at the helm of the offense. Things have been complicated. Nitro Cell out, it somehow doesn't kill anybody inside the boiler. In fact, Nu's gonna get a kill. Diaz kills Cameraman too, and M80 is a 3 versus 5 going into the last minute.
This could be the final round. This could be OXG taking the first map. I mean, they're holding angles. Again, they're waiting for the setup. And maybe they have to swing. They have to get back this man count disadvantage. Kino 2 and 9 has to be a hero right now, playing that bombs at position. Has a C4 as well. Diaz on the breach, can't quite get in, but has a line of sight. Kino surely has to find value here, either with the C4 or with the gunplay.
Nitro Cell, it comes out. It won't find anything, though. I think the secondary player there ends up catching it. Dream with a kill onto Citizen, and it's all going so very wrong. It's down to Spoit, and now it's down to no one. Oxygen, they'll take away Chalet, and they're quickly setting us onto a second map. I mean, M80, they could just not find the plot.
They couldn't. And it's funny because I feel like they've been so good at it. And OXG, I never know what to expect from them. Like, not because they're a bad team, because they are good, but I feel like they have different modes they can switch between. And right now the mode is just counter M80. Don't allow them space in the server and match the pace. If M80 want to play a quick game, well, OXG, they match it. First round, Gomez, impact round, getting the opening kill. Then round and round again on the attacking side, on the side swap, they're rushing the bomb side, finding those gaps that we keep bringing up. It is just a really good match of playstyle here for OXG. And it seems like they got them figured out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Is it's like when no matter what gear you choose, you're more than capable of winning out the round. That's when you know you really got something special going on. And that was the thing that was kind of worrying for us at the very tail end of the stage. We're like, Oxygen, what's happening here? Things are starting to kind of unwind themselves, but clearly they've done some soul searching of their own. They're like, oh wait, hold on. We're still him. We're gonna continue to keep this ball rolling. And I mean, hey, that's about all she wrote for the first one. We're gonna send y'all to a quick break and we're back. Got an analyst desk. Break things down.
Last time Oxygen won a map, it was right about 2 weeks ago, and there could not have been a better time for them to win another one because it comes not only in a playoff series, but the first series of a BO3 on their opponent's map pick. Chalet does not go in M80's direction, and for OXG, that thing was tight through the first half, and then they just looked like they ran away with it in the second.
I mean, this is exactly how I thought this game was going to go specifically. It was aggressive right off the start. I mean, M80 was pushing Oxygen to the limits on some of those sites. Like, even if the bomb wasn't there, you can trust that M80 was getting in there, taking those fights. But what I said was both these teams and their conversion rates and those opening entries, we saw that literally every single round. The trade games were phenomenal from both these teams.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed from M80 on some of their attacks. You know, I felt like they could have done a better job getting in and finding that opening, getting themselves that advantage a little bit earlier in a lot of these rounds, because it felt like You're going into your own mapping of Chalet. You're starting on attack. It's a relatively attacker-sided map. You know, the way that the windows work on this bomb site or on this map, you can take a lot of those gunfights from outside the building. You should be able to find a lot of advantageous situations as an attacking team. And through the first quarter, I mean, they did do that. We just saw round number 2, round 3 as well. We saw guys like Citizen being able to get aggressive, take that space. I just felt like we stopped seeing that towards the second half, the end of that first half, and it never really came to fruition. And that's why Auction were able to win like 3 defenses back to back to back here.
Yeah, and then again, it came down to these 1v1s. This is what I was talking about, the trade game specifically. These teams were constantly going back and forth. And Dream coming into this, I think that was round 7 here, he sneaks in and gets that play that then allows Auction to get in there, get that bomb down. I mean, both these teams played a really good game of Siege here, but I am glad to see Oxygen coming off their most recent losses to really show up here and put up this performance.
Yeah, and I really thought Dream shined on the attack.
Yeah.
I thought the last time they played on Chalet, Dream was a key player on the attack as well, getting a lot of stuff down, but he did a fantastic job throughout this, getting the bomb down and also just finding the frags.
Yeah, this round specifically, it was beautiful from Gomez here. Again, they sneak into bar to get this bomb down, but what we didn't get to see in the beginning of this is Gomez actually specifically used that Bravo drone and captured the main lobby cam. He captured a vault cam that was for that bar hallway, and you didn't get to see that. You should go back and watch it because that is what allowed Gomez to walk into that site, to take that bomb site and allow Auction to get that plant down and play that post plant and win that round.
We might even be able to go back and take a look at it here in another second, but I think the one time where we saw Dream not do good on attack was where he got TK'd trying to play Blitz and get downstairs.
Yeah.
The one time we saw, oh man, it would have been cool to see a Blitz execute, but clearly OXG didn't even need it. Here's that round for Lax.
This round specifically. So in the beginning of this, we didn't get to capture it fully, but the only reason why he was able to do this was specifically because he ends up capturing that main lobby cam and that vault cam, so that way M80 can assume, oh, maybe they see the cam and it's up, they just aren't assuming someone's on it,
right?
Or they just know for a fact it's gone, so it needs to be communicated, but clearly wasn't, because once again, a player was able to get into that bar, take control of that power position, and now you can't play from top floor, you can't play into bar, everyone's on blue stairs, Oxygen jumps in to go for that plant, and it's small things like that that can easily win a round, and Gomez played that beautifully with that Brava.
Your column was about M80 target banning the Nomad against Diaz. Didn't have the chance to play it. Did we notice anything about the Nomad, or in particular, or the fact that he played something that wasn't Nomad here?
I mean, absolutely. Diaz played a range of operators, and they were clearly trying to get that effect to the Nomad. I talked about how on the game's bomb site on Nomad, he would try to lock down the library part of the map to make sure that nobody in the post plant could come through and deny the plant. Instead of doing that on the Nomad, he did it on the Zero, setting up SAM cams inside of library, and we saw that most accurately in round number 10 in the big post plant, where he was outside the building, he had his teammates giving him information, they knew exactly what the player inside of library was going to do. That was brilliant. We also saw the Zofia coming through. I genuinely think the Zofia pick is mostly with the Claymores there, because he wanted to put those outside the building so that no jump outs could occur. Maybe it didn't come into effect. I don't believe he got a Claymore kill, but still being able to have that impact, bringing these operators, finding ways around that Nomad ban, I think Diaz did a great job with that.
Conversely, because it wasn't available to M80, were there gaps that were a real problem, or that was a big part of the reason why they only got 2 rounds on their attacking half?
I don't want to say that entirely, but I mean, I will say the Zero being played in there makes the most sense, because not only does it allow you to have 4 different areas of information that an air jab can't.
If someone's watching it,
and someone that played flank watch religiously, when you get those Nomad shot, you have to play close to those and pay attention to those. At least with the Zero cams, you know the second they get shot, and the beauty of it is you can be next to your team on those cams, so if you do need to adjust quickly, you're able to get off that cam, have someone take over it, and play quickly on that.
Well, let's talk to Dream and Kino, because we tried to get them in earlier on to talk about what this series was going to look like before they started playing it. Here's what they had to say with their pregame thoughts coming into this qualification game.
I think in the beginning of the season, obviously going 5-0 is performing like above expectations, I would say, especially because we just picked up 2 new players. And those last 3 games, though, we talked about it, and it's just, those are all just learning experiences for us. It's better to lose in groups, learn from it, and we still made playoffs. I mean, I'm excited to show some of our new strats for one, and I mean, the confidence, honestly, is probably higher than it was for those last 3 games for sure. It feels clear cut to the team, and I think that's important. So it was a big that we honestly lost those games so we could learn.
I think the team played great overall first round of playoffs against Expedition. Our prep was on point. I think we knew pretty much everything they were going to do, and we had some good counter strats for it, and some like plays, some like little plays that we had prepped. You know, if they did certain actions and stuff, it ended up going pretty well, and it was honestly a pretty one-sided match. But not taking credit from SSG, they're a great team.
Spoit can't drop 20 kills every game, so I think the rematch will probably be a little bit more in our favor. We know what we did wrong in that game. It's just closing out those gaps we had and just being the better team.
Our first match against OXG was a tough match when you were gonna play club against them, and it was 8-7. And probably our hardest game in the group stage. So I always expect a close game against them. I know how they play, and I know they'll never give up until the game is over. So I expect it to be a good game against them.
I mean, one of the weaknesses, I mean, anybody can see this, it's Kino on Monty, so we're hoping he brings that out a lot, plays that, just abuse him on it, for sure.
I honestly don't see any like actual gaps on the team. I think that team is pretty solid. They have a good core. They had a week to prep for us, so I feel like that that could hurt them, depending on like what we change, depending on what we do. I mean, sometimes prep is a curse. So I guess we'll see how the match goes.
OXG's overall goals is obviously to make the major. I think we've come too far not to make it. I mean, we got second place. Every game we play, we're improving our synergy as a team, our communication, just how we want to play the game. I think a long-term goal for us obviously should be to make Invite. I think our roster is good enough, and I think we can compete internationally. So I'm excited to see what we can do on like a bigger stage.
Team goals will always be the same. Will always be, win our next game, no matter what happens. Like if it's for NAL title, if it's for the major or whatever. Like if we have a game to play, we'll give it all, and we'll always try our best to win. And that's it for us, really.
Hearing Dream's comments about OXG synergy improving with every game definitely ring true now, seeing them win M80's pick of Chalet. We transition to map 2. We're talking Cafe. They've decided to pick it. Lax, we even said it was a pretty darn good pick for OXG in the interim. What do we think about this pick overall?
I mean, I like this map for Oxygen specifically. It plays into their playstyle. They know how to work the map, they know how to get into the map, and they also know how to deal with aggression if a team is forcing that into their play, whether that's on the defensive side or that's on the attacking side. So for me, again, I think Cafe is a very strong map for Oxygen going into this.
Yeah, and when you look at the stats, it really does reflect that too. I mean, historically, this M80 roster slot has not won Cafe since 2021. What? Obviously, none of the players currently on the roster were on that 2021 squad.
Dude, even still,
that means as an organization, M80 has never in their history won a map on Cafe. For Oxygen, they were 4-0 on this map last year throughout the NAL. They love Cafe. Haven't played it so far this stage, but still, most of the core is the same. This team loves to play Cafe, so it's not a surprise that they wanted to bring M80 here.
Cool, so we need M80 to basically break an org-long curse that's lasted for 3 years in order for them to have a chance to go to Manchester off this game?
Sounds about right.
Good grief. For OXG, you're only one map away from going to Manchester, which would be the first time they qualify for an international LAN event since 2022. Last time Oxygen went to a LAN, this guy was still on the team. That's how long it's been for OXG to finally go back to a LAN.
Then I got dropped.
And then he got
it is what it is.
Not to throw the reminder back in the face, just to tell people at home, that's how long it's been since OXG have gone to LAN, and they might finally be able to break the curse and go to Manchester in just about an hour's time or so. It's time for map number 2, Cafe Dostoyevsky on deck. Pengu and Stokes, you had so much fun with that first game. Please keep the energy up. I love you both very much.
Well, thank you so much, Jacob. I mean, you already know it, man. When Nick and I are in the room, there's bound to be some things going on. We're always having a good time, and especially with a good game like this, I mean, come on, Pengy. I'm excited to see if M80 can break this Cafe curse. I mean, 3 years of losing a map, that's something serious.
And not just that, but given how Chalet played out, we could see like a very fun, fast-paced Cafe where often we see it being like very slow and dreadful. They can't get in the building and nothing's happening. This could get explosive. It could get chaotic. The pace on Chalet, it was almost like both teams were trying to go faster than the other and problem solve at a higher efficiency level than the other as well. And I mean, OXG, they certainly came out on top. They would clutch more often than not. M80 though starts on defense in what I would argue a definitely defender-sided map.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna argue against you. Cafe,
it's hard to attack, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Even its old version was not exactly great. And then they had to give us some balconies to try and assist with the top floor, right? So, by the way, did you see that tweet a couple days ago that new balcony has been in longer than the original balcony on Cafe now?
Yeah, Cafe Rework is the older map now, which is crazy to me.
We're old, Nick. We're very old.
We are. and the thing is, it's whenever I think back about, oh, when did Oregon change? When did Clubhouse change? When did Cafe change? It's like, oh, it's not that long ago, right? It's like, buddy, it is like 5+ years ago at this point. Like, it is 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah. And that was back when you were rocking G2 and Penta hoodies and putting people in body bags yourself, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, you were probably living in Poland at that point, right? Those Poland days.
Oh my gosh, that was a time to be alive. But this is yet another. I mean, hey, I've transitioned from watching this game to now casting with a Hall of Famer, I would say, when it comes to Siege. So I'd say I'm doing pretty well for myself. I think I'm all right, Nick. Yeah, dude, this cafe, we got to get into these bans, dude. We'll touch on the win rates and all that kind of stuff later, because I really want to get into this Grim ban. Grim has been a hot commodity ever since his buff. When he first came out, he wasn't exactly great, but that was just purely due to the radius that those bees were. Now he's great at dislodgement. On a map like Cafe, Nick, in your professional opinion, sir, how much does that matter?
It's very important, especially this top 4 bomb site. I would almost argue that if Grim isn't banned, playing top 4 bomb site is just outright a terrible idea. Because top 4 plays out about you sit in power positions. In piano, you can sit on bar stage, that pixel spot. On cocktail, there are various corners you can play in. In freezer, same story. And the thing that Grim can do right here, you can cover this entire section of the map with Grim bees from the A window rappel on cocktail. So by Grim being banned out, you can now move around more freely, and if you're stuck in a corner, you're not gonna have guaranteed intel on you. Because the way the Cafe plays out right now is almost every single attacking round at the highest level of play, attackers play Grim Capital, they find you with the bees, they fire you out, they get 2 free kills, and attackers win the round. So M80 are enabling themselves to play more bomb sites and play more freely by banning Grim, and they can do it because they start on defense.
Most definitely. Interesting little trope here as well. Gomez on the sledge on a top floor offense. I'm very surprised about this, especially with his entry down low. You'd honestly like,
come on, right?
You know, yeah, exactly. You take the op list away from this. You're like, why are we not on Buck? Maybe you get access to that mid floor, maybe Skeleton Key under Cocktail, but clearly they're thinking something different. They've got some solid drone presence here, and this is all going to be built up around Red.
I think you raised a good point. Why not the Buck? Because you cannot cook those grenades anymore. That's the whole meme. But maybe it's the gun, right? Get that LE5 in action. M80 watching those default cams. They know Gomez is downstairs, but again, top floor is not really about the roam game down below. There's no pulls or solids in play. It's about just holding up top floor with 5 players and make OXG work and problem solve every inch of the map. The reason why it's such a difficult map to attack in ranked and in pro play is once you drop down a hatch, once you rappel in a window, you are hell in a cell for the rest of the round. Sport, he's gonna play that spot on a piano, flashbangs and 5 dots in his direction.
And you said it yourself, that's exactly what it is. Every single time that Cafe pops off, it's a bloodbath. You just don't really know which way it's going to go, and this right in front of us, be going the way of M80. Oxygen, Gomez specifically going to try and go for this rotation. The big issue is that Sledge, he's a 3 armor nowadays, so he's pretty clunky. Any more aggressive move that he goes for, he might end up losing his lunge, but he's patient, and Kino's actually going to be the one to show up to his doorstep instead. He barely has to move. Actually plays right into his hand in a scenario like that as well. But speaking of a scenario, there's quite one laid out in front of him. 45 seconds remaining. Oxygen have got to get something going for themselves. Minus just dying to these guns pointed over towards Cigar and the traditional way of taking this top floor. Diaz doing his best of attempting to spam down the M80 player, but Noodle, he's persevering and he's doing so very well. How is he alive? Oh my! Just die, Noodle! There's no way! This guy has a chin like a god. This is insane. And somehow, some way, it's down to a 1 versus 2. Diaz, he thinks, maybe, or at least I think, he knows that there's one inside a bathroom. He does. The Super Shorty won't get it done. Spoil to find one with the 9mm. Man, does he love that SMG. But what a weird round that was for a split second there.
That was a weird round, and I actually want to go back to the first point that you made. Why not play the Buck over the Sledge? Because Gomez was in that prime position to actually utilize a Skeleton Key. They had library control, he was inside of pillars, and he got a kill in Kino walking down the white staircase, but then you can't push anymore. You have no backup, right? It's a risky play. So again, if you play Buck, could have done a little bit more, but it's hard to get in the building on attack. And this again, the Grim Ban come into effect. You can't utilize those rappels. So top 4 bomb site, probably gonna be the strongest. Reading, dining right here, second strongest bomb site. And then you got that tertiary option, whether you play kitchen and kitchen or mining and dining. That's your choice later on. But I like this bump set rotation from M80. They very clearly understand what sides are strong based off the operator bans. Also because OXG banned the Ying. So Ying also very excellent normally to drop down a skylight. Again, rappel in the window, drop down a hatch, create chaos in the server. So, good understanding. I like the red lineup. They're bringing util, Wamai, castle. They are building a wall in the middle of the map top floor that they want to care about and hold. And then again, OXT, they got a problem to solve. Brute force, pick it apart, try and, you know, sneak around, rush the bomb site. One way or another, they have to get kills. Because if you don't get kills on Cafe, you will not get map control.
Absolutely not. And that's the thing about that top floor too, is as soon as you start trying to brute force things in from Christmas side, it really starts to fall flat on its face pretty quick. I mean, the first domino, if they're able to just catch your entry off guard, you're probably all dying. I mean, that's right. It's just such a rough thing. You're really running roughshod over the whole thing, and you're hoping that these defensive guns just don't have solid angles or that there's just some form of miscommunication. That's why we see a lot of teams try to exploit things with something like Clutch, with Buck, which oddly enough, he's being brought this round on a mid-floor site where you can bring Pledge upstairs, but I digress. The C8's great. I'm happy that he's bringing them. There's still some exploitable things, and also the other thing is the skeleton key can still be utilized the same way. And not that big of a deal that, you know, especially in the common day of Siege with those nades being reworked, so you'll have to try and make sure you bring those old, tried and true things, those patch.
Kind of hard to entry here though. Look at the operator lineup. Grab a high value operator. Hibana only Heart Breacher. Dokkaebi Global Gadget. Only really Gomez on Buck and Newers on the Ash can kind of throw their life away. But if you lose both Buck and Ash, you have no self-destruction. So risky operator lineup here from OXT. Everyone's high value. Everybody has to try and stay alive. And it's why they've slowed down the pace a bit compared to Chalet. You want to make it safely towards that upstairs execute. Get the 5v5, get top floor control, hopefully get a couple of kills, and then they can start looking towards the bomb site shortly after. Wide hallway push, it looks pretty damn clear to me.
Most definitely. Logic bomb in. Gomez will discover one, but now the jig is up. M80 has to respond. Still one inside a cocktail. Flashes in. One on Freezer, two. Skeleton key. Good for Citizen. He turns on a dime, too. Knows that player's near Freezer, but he's blown sky high by the Nitro cell. It's a 3 versus 4 in favor of Oxygen, as they're doing a damn good job of taking over this top floor. But Spoit, he's found a way to slip through the cracks. He's found a way to potentially sweep this entire round under the rug. It's 2 kills out of this man. Yeah, he's not just a YouTube star. He's also pretty darn good at this video game, let me tell you. Keeping things locked up. Super Shorty almost gets it done up against Yogg. If he was able to ADS there and maybe, just maybe, get those pellets tightened up, that could have spelled disaster for Yaga and Oxygen. But instead, it's down to the IGL of Cameraman. It'd be a picturesque moment for him if he's able to win it inside of the 1 versus 2. Continue their reign here on this Cafe defense as they're trying to set a precedent. They're trying to make it known that they have the ability, they have the opportunity to take this map away from Oxygen and put us onto map 3. Yogg on low HP. Cameraman running for the hills. He's not even gonna peek him, Pangy. That's gonna be the round for M80. Off the back of some creative nature out of Cameraman.
Oh boy, yep, the IGL, the old guard there, they lock it down, but it was the early beginning from Spoit that set things up for success, finding the kills upstairs, going unnoticed for a very long time inside of stock room right next to Freezer. And I gotta say, Spoit looks so clean in those gunfights, and I was thinking, who's gonna clear him out? Well, turns out a SMG-12 sprint into the room from Yogg, gets the job done, but it's not enough. And yeah, Cafe is voting. I'm not sure if defender favorite, but maybe they're holding on, looking a bit cleaner there than on Chalet. They were struggling previously with the gaps. OXG kept just walking to the bomb site, finding pick after pick after pick on Chalet. Now Cafe, much more compartmentalized, much smaller in scale, where you have very limited avenues in towards the building itself. And there was still a gap last round, right? A wide hallway. OXT sprinted it down. They got the opening kill, but they did have a crossfire established later on. So even when plan A doesn't work for the defense, at least there is a very clear plan B in action for M80.
Yeah, and you know, let's just make it abundantly clear for those that might be a little bit newer. It's really Spoit that won things out on that top floor. I mean, if Spoit had not just for some reason had this moment of an epiphany where he was like, maybe I just sit on stacks and I kill 2 people magically, right? Then there's a whole different world in front of us. There's a whole different world in front of us if Oxygen rather, does their due diligence and checks Freezer. I mean, there's a lot of different ways this goes. I mean, these are some of the best in the business, you know, arguably some of the best teams and best players that we have available inside of Siege at the current moment, but even things can go wrong for these guys sometimes. So next time you're mad at somebody for misdroning, just remember, it can even happen to Oxygen.
Yeah, so the thing about Siege is that there are so many small details to keep track of, and it's why it's such a unique game as well at a high level of play and even at a more casual level, because you have so many ways to play it. You can be a good aimer, you can be a good brainer, good positioning. There's not one way to do things in Siege. There are like 1,000, and you can make any weird playstyle work.
It's a 4D chess with guns. That's my favorite description of Rainbow Six. Because
and then like verticality and self-destruction, and yeah,
like it's just so insane. But that's been the big draw to Siege for the longest time. You know, it's not just because the game's complicated. That's what makes it cool, right? No, it's that you can go about things in so many different ways and accomplish the same goal. And that's the beauty of Rainbow Six. Kino and Spoit, that's the beauty of good mechanics. That's 2 bodies out of Oxygen.
Get one back to Newers. Spoit still in a piano position. A little bit aggressive. Dream hears the position, doesn't know the exact, but he can lock it down. Piano is on stage, maybe. You got that 3v1. Goes stage repel. Swings cigar, but Spoit is ready for it. Oh, they baited it!
They don't check Pixel, man. That's something you really got to worry about on these top floor clears. Sometimes they'll even just set a shield there and just have somebody just maybe think, maybe just wonder if somebody's going to swing off that thing. But this time around, it's active. No bathroom player, just pure heat, pure smoke. Right off that Pixel shield. A nice trade back and forth, and obviously Oxygen going to be on the short end of the stick. Be able to at least get rid of a yokai here. But with 40 seconds remaining, Nick, how do we change this? How do we adjust our sails?
You gotta get that opening pick, right? Gotta get it to a 2v2, but the thing is, if Manny played smart, they can play Solus downstairs and always come up at one of those 3 staircases for a flank late round. And then the other 2 players just play bump side, play keep away. Wait for Urshi to come to you, get them in that awkward position. Solus Citizen can't even deny most of the bomb side from below, although it's worth noting there is no impacts available for Citizen downstairs, so some angles will be a blind spot.
Smokes out, DS in, Citizen.
Oh, no.
We're all going to be paying attention to this man down low. He should be able to see this case going down, and he can potentially mark him through the floor too to try and get some assistance from these other players. The case is going to go down. Now, it's all up to Nick. What a flick. This 5.52 commando, it has been sweltering hot in his hands this entire stage. He'll find another, but cameraman gets it through the wall. He thought that he was long-arming around the reinforcement, but clearly not. He's going to be on the soft paneling instead. An M80, somehow, some way, they continue to find paths through the defensive end of Cafe.
Speaking of many ways to go about that round, Newers could have gone above with the IQ scanner to shut down the defuse attempt there with accurate intel. They had a yellow ping though, so Newers was relying on his teammates saying, hey, he's in the corner by the Rio, long arming it, which was incorrect. But again, you got the IQ scanner, you got other options. It's a matter of what you choose and what you think is the right moment and whether you want to use your primary weapon or of course your secondary. But these are, again, very close rounds. It's a 3-0 lead for one team of M80, but it very well could have been, you know, a 1-2 or a 2-1 the other way around. OXG call a tactical timeout. They gotta steer this back in the other direction because right now, Cafe is slipping away.
Yeah, utter calamity. And that's the one thing, right? When you pick Cafe, you're never worried about the defenses, are you, Pengy? You're always worried about these offenses. How the hell are we getting in the building, boys? How are we getting these entries? And that's why we see this timeout already, because Redeemer is not confident in what's happening right now. And he really doesn't have a reason to be. It has not been going well for Oxygen. The only opportunity that was laid out in front of them was them having that chance to try and work things up that white hallway, getting those picks, and then opening up that top floor just slightly until Spoit gets those 2 big kills. And once again, it's back in M80's hands.
Now the big question is, what are the adaptations going to be? If you're XG, you can do 2 things. Either a strategical change, so let's say your operator lineup, right now Dream hovering a Monty, for example, that's a very drastic change, for example, or a pace change, going for a side rush, go on those window repels, play on the offense. But given the fact that M80 banned out the Grim, I don't think that's going to be possible. And it's why they're steering in towards this shield direction instead. M80, just like last time, they go for a 3, 4, 5-man spawn peak, just like on Chalet after a timeout. That seems to be their win condition, because you think OHG, they're gonna take it slow, they're gonna relax in the server, but they're ready for it. Nearest goes to the punishment play. Citizen out for the count. He's 0-4, by the way.
Fragger on Fragger hostility. Who's gonna take down Citizen? And yeah, a stat line that I can say with a lot of confidence we have not seen out of Citizen this entire stage. 0-4 is something that you never see next to this man's name. But things have been complicated so far for him on this defensive side, which, I mean, again, this is something that really never see. But the beauty of the situation is for him, though, the rest of M80, they've got his back, man. Sports 5-2 right now. Everybody else pretty positive at the end of the day. Really going to be up to Oxygen to try and change up that fate after this timeout. First minute's already expended, but they've been taking their time trying to dedicate themselves to a little bit of droning and also just getting a better understanding of what's happening on this top level.
Yeah, watch Dream though. When he jumps down the hatch, one's gonna lead the charge towards the building. The question is he gonna lash out and go for those early swings or let them execute?
That's the moment here. See if they swing for this. We're actually gonna check in with Oxygen now as they get this 4 versus 3. See exactly how they want to go about this execute.
Just on this is on me.
Can you guys shoot the Kim? Yeah, he did. I have another
he
one.
left, we went to Pixel. So went Freezer and then went Pixel.
I have a flank cam.
So they're playing a shotgun in bathroom. It is mute shotgun in bathroom. A zombie ready to stack. There you go. Fenrir is deep freeze. Mute shotgun is in bathroom. And one cocktail. A zombie cocktail. How do you guys want to play this? I think we win by pushing underneath Skylight. I think we push underneath Skylight. There's still the dude deep freeze. They have no warden. We could play off smokes here.
We could look to plant in a smoke too.
Yeah, we can try to plant. We gotta shoot defense, right?
Can you guys hold? Can you guys hold?
We need one to stay and hold white, and then I think Mitch should just look to plant a smoke.
Probably could.
Yeah, I can stay. Mute bathroom. One freeze, and the other one
took a lot of damage.
C3.
He's C3. He's not C1. Hold across the C1 then.
I have it. I'm waiting from Skylight. Smoke.
I'm gonna bait a C4. I'm just
holding Pixel.
Space smokes.
Pixel. You?
He's inner bar. What's inner bar?
Dead. And then C2. Let's go. Okay, I'm gonna smoke.
Where is he?
Planning.
Gomez has white.
Freeze.
Freeze. Oh, nice.
Now that is a proper take on the top floor. That is exactly what we want to see out of Oxygen. And did you see how much Dream got to dictate from that Monty right there? The communication out of that man alone. Not only that, we also have to talk about this for a split second too. The capabilities of the Oxygen players to layer those comms. While you have Dream talking about all of that, they're also on that sidebar making sure that they're able to figure out that little ordeal they have going on over near Cocktail or wherever it was. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful coordination from all of them. Nobody getting overwhelmed. It's just so perfectly done. And then past that, Nick, the thing that's so impressive to me is their timing, their capability to try and extend that round, make M80 sweat, get those smokes down, force them to start taking these swings and walking into the Oxygen guns that they have set up.
Yeah, the thing that I really liked is how Dream was able to just share the intel, and then he also asked the question, how do you guys want to problem solve? And I think you can be critical of that if you want to, because you can argue that Dream should have told the team exactly what to do, but we don't know the exact roles for OHG and how they problem solve situations. And I like the fact that Dream opens up the floor, hey guys, what do you want to do? Because when you're Monty, life is easy, right? You just stand there with the extended shield, but again, the value of having a clear communicator on that supportive role gets you very far in that round. And OHG, off that tactical timeout, the big question for us was, how do they adapt on the fly to those problems with that small 45-second of break? Well, they play Monty in that first round after the tactical timeout. Now they do it again. This is going to be their new win condition. Now we look towards M80. What are they doing to counter Dream on the Monty? Well, this round, they're playing 2 C4s, Toxic Babes and Smoke on Noodle, and Goyo Fire from Citizen. So they have 3 separate operators with the sole purpose, more or less, to be an annoyance towards Dream, to do chip damage to Monty, or try and shut him down from entering the building. So the only thing for M80 right now, they're giving up map switch. Look at this. Piano is free for the taking. It's never free typically in the past, right? There's always a player there. They're playing very far back Cocktail. They're playing on the bomb site itself. They are welcoming in OXG and force them into a bad position, and then they're gonna strike out with the Toxic Babes, with the Goya Fire.
Oh, this is perfect. Picturesque from M80 on this top floor. This is right across the lines as to what you want to do. Try and keep things dialed back over towards Cocktail. Especially in a setup like this where you have so much delay, so much capability to box out Oxygen. That's really what it is. Just making it where they can't try and transition into a lot of these areas. It's gonna definitely prove to be a pretty powerful thing. It's already gonna start here. A little tick damage towards Dream, but it's really about the timer. So make sure you guys pay attention to this, because this is the thing about Cafe. They just got in the building. We're already halfway through this round. This is how it always goes. So really, how much value do they get out of this situation? You can see it's gonna be Kiki here. We're not gonna have the other SAS up. We might have them over in the stairwell, but don't really know. Don't really know my silhouettes too well when things are like this. So we'll have to see if the Nitro Cell or potentially some smokes can boil over, but either way, this is what they're considering. They're considering trying to just get a full flush on this top floor. Get a rotate created here for Freezer, and Gomez with a nice discovery.
Sick opening. C4 spent. Doesn't get the 2K though, surprisingly enough. But the trade instead, Dream just ADS just in the fadeaway, and Kino dropping down the hatch. OXG, they get the map control. They have 40 seconds to work with, and they don't have the buck though. So vertical destruction, not gonna be easy. Second nice shot on the Brava. Newers has grenades, you can pop a little bit of the floor maybe, but they still got the Monty. Drop down, walk into side. Dream can again be that clear communicator and establish where to put down that diffuser.
This is absolutely insane, but that's it. That might be it right there.
3 seconds
it's a
left of the fire.
20-second tool. He's going to have quite a bit of time that he has to stand at this door, but this is what Dream needs. There's a lot of communication that has to happen here. He needs a full court press on the back end of this site right now, right as fast as they can get it. People have to rotate and try and take these fights with these players on site. This is why we see this aggressive play up top too. He's trying to make sure this verticality isn't here. They're attempting to work in the main hallway, and nothing happens. It's going to be M80 that claim practically everybody. I don't even know if we saw one person fall from them on the site setup there, but Oxygen were forced to adjust, whether it be shifting the shield over there and trying to assist, or just having the fraggers try and get in that hallway / fireplace area. It had to happen. It just didn't go their way.
The vision there for OXG and Dream was to wait out the Goyo Fire, as you said, last 20 seconds. It was popped at the 23-second mark. That gives Dream a 3-second window to walk in at the right time, to not die to the Captain Fire, and to start getting down that diffuser. And that was the goal, because he waited there for over 10 seconds. But then, as the fire started fading away, a Toxic Babe from the smoke was tossed out, and then Dream realized, oh, we messed up. We have 8 seconds. They still have smoke available. We have to ready towards Dining 90 hallway, and you just don't have time. You don't have the positions. They didn't have a setup for it either. And simply, they were too slow in the early stages of that round. If M80 are giving you Piano, Cigar, basically the entire half of the map towards the north, you gotta take it quickly, because round will be an issue later on if they're playing those stall-out operators like the Goyo, like the Smoke. OXG, they're gonna stick Monty in this final round in the first half. That was a big question mark that I had for myself, because it worked once, it failed once. What do you make of that? There's no clear outcome in that regard. So this third time will tell us if the Monty is successful or not. It's also a pivotal round for OXG, because either they will be down 1-5 in round count, or if they can succeed here, they will be 2-4 and buy themselves a little bit of wiggle room for their defenses to come.
Most definitely. And the thing about Monty is he's usually that a universal key when it comes to entry too, no? And it's like what's happening with our entry on this Christmas angle? You expect him to just walk in there, establish at least an line in the sand that they're able to work around, but nothing really happening there. So really hoping to see some due diligence here for Oxygen when it comes to the shield. Dream did a great job of being able to try and work around the team there. It was just that they didn't want to try and deliver him in that way on the top level, which a little questionable, but hey, still have at least one round they can pick up and make it to where their defenses can at least be palatable. Definitely going to be the bare minimum, but something that they are going to get ever so much more worrisome about after losing Yogg.
Curious what happened there. Sadly, again, like 1 minute burned, you just lose a player early, dropping down the hatch, and then Noob finds another.
Dropped it.
Yeah, but again, you have Monty. Where's Monty in all this? Why doesn't Monty drop first the intel and then Dream communicate it? Because I mean, Orshi now, they're just playing off the vibes. Like, they gotta figure out, okay, where's the gap? Where's the kill? Now Dream drops to the third player, but this round is not necessarily over, but it's very tough for the attack.
Yeah, it's most definitely spiraling off kilter for sure. This is definitely out of order, and yeah, I definitely think that you're well within your right to question how things initially went there with that entry, because it's just weird, man. Not exactly what you want. Yug drops in, dude takes kind of an awkward fight, ends up losing things out. Dream's been tagged up, and now Gomez, yeah, he can try and exploit things down low, but this is the beauty of having so many men up on the defensive cafe. It's a roamer's dream. I mean, you can do so much. There's so many different ways you can try and maneuver around this map. They're going to find that man inside of reading. Down to a 5 versus 2 now. M80 well within their right to make this a 5-1 half.
Yep. Dream's got to charge here. Go in, find the player, maybe go for a melee. So there's C4 prepped on the door above. Dream cannot cross it now. They are blocking out OHG so well in this round. Now Q-Berry as well. Just more pressure to be added here, right? What are you going to do?
What a shot from Dream. Really start things off strong, and at a bare minimum, pull away that flawless round. Remember that thing I said about a roamer's dream when it came to Cafe? It's the beauty of 3 stairwells on a tri-layer cake of a map. This will just rotate up red. Look at these split. That's going to be another M80 round and a gorgeous M80 half to boot. Now, here's the real thing. They're switching over to offense, and it's a completely different ball game. As Oxygen has been showing us, it is not so easy on the other side of the fence.
But there's always the thing about, like, okay, both teams have to attack and defend. We all know that, right? There's a side swap for a reason. It'll always occur. You cannot win just by playing defense or attack. You can go 6-0 up, but you still got to go at least one attacking round. The difference is, though, OHG will start on the difficult side. So you have to go through this 1-5 scoreline, not feeling super confident, not feeling too great in the server, and it's just gonna feel like an impossible task almost, even though in reality there's a high chance that M80 will have the same side swap, which means there's gonna be another 5-1 for defense, and in that case we go overtime. So it looks really bad on paper, it feels a little bit bad if you're an OG player, but in reality it might not be all that bad.
No, it honestly might not. And really good point there as well, my friend. Another good point to M80's camp. They're going to be the first ones bringing out the gritty. We're going to see Gridlock here. I'm very excited about that. She applies extremely well to a map like this. As you can lock up all of those stairwells, and not only that, she's actually really good at just, you know, throwing down patches and things like the long bar from the skylight or some other means. She's got so many of those things. You can kind of use them whichever way you want.
That's a good point. Maybe on the attack though, what can they do? Gridlock, yeah, we don't see it all that often, right? First to bring it up, but like, what do you accomplish with the operator? You can make it messy, you can deny the plant sound. The Brava though finding good value, Citizen doing a good job there. X1 Evil Eye denies the intel. Don't get shut down though, so limited intel for this. But this is its first step. Now the Evil Eyes on the bomb side, so that later on you can go to that bomb side execute with Gridlock, for example. They're gonna go for that actually, 210.
They're gonna rush on in. Spoit, no EE1D in hand, but he does know what player's over inside a train. He'll execute him accordingly. Looking for a place to put down in this case, but Citizens went too far. Needs some assistance. Yaga's actually gonna end up gunning him down, so it might be Spoit that ends up putting down this case, but he's lost his lunch as well, as those two are gonna trade back and forth. Cameraman here, swinging in through the dark wall. Some pressure coming onto his location too, but it's going to be Kino that is actually down on the ground next. New still has some solid positioning upstairs too. This has just been a wild round so far, as things have been utter calamity across the entire board. Finally, it's going to rest, and as the dust settles, it's going to be a 2 versus 2.
Half the round to go, by the way. Fastest round so far between these two teams on Cafe at least, but planting now is still difficult. 2v2 means that if you start planting, only one gun up for the cover. Case cold inside a train, gotta pick it up first. Cameron finds another kill though. Now Gomez with 1 HP in the 1v1.
Oh, Gomez. Every single time I see a situation like this, Pangate, hair on my neck just stands up. Gomez. On the other side of this wall, a gap, and he'll tag up Noodle. This is a lot closer than a lot of you think! Oh my God! Gomez! How does he get it done? Such little HP! Noodle could have nicked him with anything in that kit, and this man dies. But oh my! Instead, Prone creates a rug just in the middle of the floor with the super shorty. What a moment there, able to get that round out of practically nothingness.
1 HP in a dream. Sometimes that is all you need, and is that? Oh, I was gonna say, is that a technical timeout from M80? Despite being up 5-2? No, it's a technical pause here. There's a small issue there. Gonna get it quickly rehosted, I imagine. Not sure exactly what happened, but exciting cafe ahead of us, I think. I like the fact that the attack goes for a quick play. And again, this is the benefit of being up in round score. When you go 5-1 up on defense, you can throw a couple rounds away trying crazy stuff on the attacking side, because if you lose, it's 5-2. Try it again, it's 5-3. You have these kind of quote-unquote spare rounds to work with because you have such a big lead. And it's not like that was a bad attempt. They just didn't have a position to plant in, and they lost the gunfights. And with that, eventually, they also lost the round.
Yeah, it was hard fought, but I mean the complications are clearly showing here for Oxygen, as M80 just across the board really having a better understanding of what their capabilities are here on Cafe. I mean, it's not that Oxygen aren't doing their due diligence. It's just that when it matters most, M80 are gleaming. They're shining. It's a sunny day for them. But for Oxygen, it's all doom and gloom. The storm continues to roll to their shores. And it's something that they're more than likely discussing right now inside of this tech pause, just amongst themselves. Just being like, hey guys, what the hell do we do for the future of Cafe here? I mean, there's still a lot in this Cafe tank. They still have the capabilities of losing a round up against M80. There's still a lot that, I mean, they can get done when it comes to this defensive side. So much opportunity in the land when it comes to Cafe in a situation like this.
The thing about attacking Cafe is again, it's just like I think it's a map that really requires experienced players, because I think it's mentally a very taxing map to play as well. Again, the classic hell in a cell type scenario where the second you get the opening pick or die, you drop down the hatch, you enter the building, you have to fight tooth and nail for every single second for the remainder of the round, and unless you play the Monty, you're not really having a good time. So the longer this goes on for, the longer the attacking runs are, the more taxing it can be. So I like the fast approach from M80, just trying to change things up, controlling the pace. And again, very, very close, very well could have worked out, but small things will likely define the outcome of most of these rounds. Just like Chalet, the devil is in the details.
Most definitely. It's all down to the minute things, the little audibles, micro decisions across the entirety of the map. Even from the early game, I mean, we've seen things as little as just the time chosen to enter the building be the main thing that decides a round. And that's why earlier when we were talking about, what's Siege like? It truly is like 4D chess. There's some times where you don't realize you've lost the round until, the end. And you're like, oh, I actually lost the round at a minute 45. Yeah. And that's so I had no idea.
No, it really is. I think a good example of that is when they were attacking reading from OXG, and with the very low on time, they take top floor, they go downstairs, the Glorify gets popped. Dream is thinking, guys, we win this. Glorify only lasts 20 seconds. We got 23 seconds, it's fine. Toxic Babes gets tossed out. Oh, by the way, guys, we lost this round like a minute and a half ago because we were too slow in the beginning. It's like, yes, you realize very quickly at some point that, oh, yeah, this is not going according to plan whatsoever. But we lack that teeny tiny amount of intel, like a single operator, for example.
And that's the thing about it, right? Is like in a game like this where there's so many different variables, even on, just a single site, there's so many different ways that you can go about it, especially with the laundry list of operators that we have in this game, So yeah, it just makes it to where there's so many different ways that things can be accomplished. And that's really where there's just so many oddities that start popping up where people find an untraditional line or whatever it really is inside of their theory crafting that makes them tick just a little bit differently. Sometimes, like Pengu was saying, things just do not go your way. Even when things feel well calculated, blitz, and the blitz is dead. Just like that. A lot of weight put into that play, but M80, they found a different angle to be able to work off of this. Yeah, Kino's the entry, but 9 times out of 10, your entry isn't the one that gets all the things done. It's that secondary layer, that secondary entry, that off angle. And that's what we get out of M80 on this one.
Yep. Honestly, it's still a 4v3. A lot of things to happen right now, but I want to listen to what M80 they have figured out for this round and how they want to approach this with a one-man advantage. So let's listen to what they have to say.
You guys want to Mancini and I hold the back?
Not worth.
Okay, one bunker. Yes.
Sami bunker.
Yeah.
You want to do Mancini and I hit back, yeah?
Yeah, we can do.
Move them, and I can see the hall. No, it's fine. Okay, that's good. That's good.
No, well, mine was bakery.
Yo, Yoka's in VIP right now. Yoka's in VIP. They're clearing. He's clearing VIP.
Let's go. Let's go now, guys.
Let's go.
Yoka's going.
He's behind the bar.
Yoka's on you. Yep. Nice. No more Yoka.
Deep cam. Get push us.
One bakery, come here.
Come here with me, bro.
Okay.
Red. I tried.
Adam, look.
Man, Citizen and Spoit, they just do things to you whenever you see their pop, do they? It's just like, yo, is this guy about to kill the whole lobby? Like,
You never know what's coming next, like truly.
oh man, but all right, Kowalski, analysis.
So I actually think the initial beginning of that round, excellent, right? They get a 1-for-2 trade rather for the attacking side. 4 versus 3, excellent spot if you are an attacker. But then you have a tough decision to make. You have 2 options. Either go for a front-sided execute, just bakery, that's what they did, or a backside execute, which is like a wide staircase, dining catch situation, going for kitchen. But the issue with clearing out bakery, like we just saw, the bakery desk. It seems so silly to say this, but it is one of the hardest gunfights to win, I think, on the attacking side, to clear out the bakery desk position. It's very long, and there's a gap on one end of it where you can get swung from, so you never know you're gonna get swung left, right, or center, standing up, crouched, or prone. And we saw the bakery player get 2 or 3 kills in the round, shutting down the entire push from M80. It looked like the attacks were gonna win and go to match point, but instead, they lose that in the round. OXG, they're building this comeback on the defense side, and maybe on their first attempt, they rushed. They felt so confident. Second round, they rushed. They feel so confident, but they've been shut down twice now. And look at the operator lineup. They're playing Brava, Flores, Calitar, Nomad. M80 had to change up their entire game book right now, saying, hey, fast doesn't work. Let's go slow, methodical, and arguably more predictable. And OXG, they'll be very familiar with that playstyle because that's how most teams play on Cafe. So M80 might be forced into a worse way to play the game because the primary way did not work out the first 2 times.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's the thing about Cafe, right? Like, a lot of success does bank on the fact of utility that you bring. It's just that this lineup, there's a lot more utility. You want to become a good utility team? Play Cafe. That's really it at the end of the day. If things are not going right for you and your boys, this is a map that'll fix it. Either that or you're going to hate the next 10 maps that you play. Let me tell you. Kino, though, going to continue to apply himself when it comes to those roteros. Get some flashbacks there, my friend.
I was going to say, like, the utility meta was pretty much created on a Cafe. One of the first maps, like, you play Pixel Spot and Piano, 1 deployable shield, 3 ADSs, 5 on my disc, keeper barriers, go your shields, right? There's so many things to deal with. That's what old school Cafe and utility brings back in my mind. And let me tell you, Samuel, it was nice the first couple months, okay? But 5 months in a row dealing with that every single round, it takes a long-term negative effect on your mental when you play Cafe in the future, okay? It is traumatizing. It was hard to deal with. It was.
The loading screen just does things to you now, doesn't it?
It's like, Cafe.
Absolutely. I think it does a little something to all of us when it comes to that time frame as well. And I was just having to deal with ranked players and like T3 people. I can't even imagine that at a professional level. Just having people swing off Pixel, having Bolo trying. Nah, dude,
exactly.
I'm okay. And so's Cameraman. He's gonna be riding the bench for the rest of this one. M80's start to this offensive round hasn't been too hot to trot. They at least get some presence on this top floor, but no real verticality just yet. They just now started getting some things open over here on the cocktail side, getting those roteros in, get Spoit in with the skeleton keys too. Just gotta make sure that they at least get a home for this case here in, you know, a due moment.
Yeah, break the floor, get the caps of fire and smokes going, and hit the bomb site lightly from that pillar position. OXG, what they can do because of that Toxic Babes or C4, flank for as many spots as possible. Walk up red staircase, brown staircase, spread thin. Use the fact that when they made it to go for a plant, only 3 players have their guns up. But if Spot finds his skill to DS, which he does, that's gonna put him in a much stronger position, having that 4v4.
Yaga. This is going to be the entire tail of the tape for Oxygen for the most part on trying to stop this. Can he try and get anything going on this swing? And it won't happen. Citizen, Noodle, dream back onto Citizen. Noodle going to try and hold down the pillar position. Into post plant we go. We do have one player upstairs that can try and assist with this. Might have the capabilities to hold things down from the door, but Dream's got a lot of accessibility to a lot of different angles. This SMG-11 is gonna have to try and get something done. And as this timer continues to dwindle, things get all the more dire for Oxygen. These rounds have been so difficult. They've been so very hard fought. And Dream, he'll stop one. New gets gunned down though. Dream to the rescue. He'll be able to at least find one, but he has to find the other in 3 seconds. No, the perfect play out of Noodle and the super shorty for 2. What an insane set of circumstances. But it's all Noodle. It's all M80 for a successful round on a reading offense.
And it's ridiculous to show for Cafe for the reading bomb site. You really have to hold on to top floor because we can argue that the attack was a little bit slow maybe, but they had floors and they had the bug to destroy the floor towards the bomb site for the ceiling there on the verticality. So 50 seconds is enough. And the big thing, Sport knew there's a player flanking Diaz on the red staircase, and getting that kill really helped out. They had one capital fire left on the attack. They used it on the brown staircase. Guess what? York was playing brown staircase. Forced to then sprint up, not have his gun out, he died as well. So that 5 versus 5 very quickly became a 5 versus 3 favoring the attack. Oishi did the right thing. They flanked in 3 different locations at the same time, but M80, they were so ready for it, either because of good guesswork or reading the pace of the round, or because they had put up their flank drones early on and had actual live intel to work with. And this is the thing about the first half. Going 1 and 5, it buys you no wiggle room. You lose a single round on the side swap, you'll get a match point. Had OXG gone, 2-4 or 3-3, they have rounds to lose. Now it's do or die for them here in the second map. They'll have to go to that third map, Night Haven Lab, if M80 can prevail and find one of the following 3 rounds. Otherwise, that's it. No HG, again, they cannot win in regulation. They have to go all the way to overtime and then win it out there. So they can lose in 3 minutes, but they can win in 25.
Yep. And a lot of teams, up to snuff, worth their luster, whatever way you want to put it. This is the round where they're going to be the most feral. They're going to be the most aggressive because, all it takes is just one wrong thing, one mishap on the defense, and the game is over. They have so many opportunities to run this back, too. For M80, the world is truly their oyster. It just it just is down to how they want to go about delivering this. Gonna have some Twitch drones in on the mid floor. Also have Brava, too, with these clutches, sweeping a few pieces over towards the blue side.
Nice slow and steady start here. Intel, very important for M80. Again, the Brava, Twitch, and the Dokkaebi all plays into Intel and counter Intel. Spoil creeping up. There's barbed wire though, and a Fenrir mine to boot. He's been baited in, but he survives for now. But he's 1 HP.
Citizen. He's found what he thinks to be a gap. One is inside of this hallway here. Looks to be somewhat inside a laundry, but it's all a lie. What? And so is the cake. He can't get it. Diaz! Oh my God! What is that? He turns on a dime. He hits the deck like he's trying to crawl under some fire, avoid the smoke, rides the flames, kills 2, and he's still up. I cannot believe my eyes. That has to be one of the craziest things I've seen inside of this cafe hallway. And he's completely spun M80 on their heels. New, he's somehow still upstairs. There's a gridlock all the way over on New balcony too. What can he get done with this? This situation is so strange, but it's something Oxygen's used to. New though, he's not prepared for Noodle. The patience play, it works out, and they're gonna have the man advantage.
This is the thing of the pacing, right? Immediately they go fast, they go slow, they go fast, they go slow. Newers didn't know what exactly was going on there. Maybe expecting maybe to be like near the bomb side, getting ready for an execute. Well, they were quite literally one guy on the roof, Noodle holding him, cameraman on site repel. They weren't doing anything. They're waiting for a response. The punishment goes out. Now it's again the attackers in a favorable spot. Kino is low HP though, but as is Diaz, the 3v2 with 20 seconds to go.
Noodle. Be the case for him, but his fate is made. It's sealed, it's signed. It's all up to Diaz on the spray through. This man is insane. Clairvoyant through the smoke. He pre-fires. He catches cameraman. Kiki and cameraman both so very low. Kino on potentially the only safe space in this entire area, and he's found. Oh way, he's downed. And somehow, some way, by a single man's efforts, Oxygen stay alive here on Cafe.
I think if we did a replay of the Citizen fight against Diaz with the DMR, I don't think Citizen hit a single bullet. I'm pretty sure when Diaz had that 1 versus 2, he was full HP when he got the first kill, meaning that Citizen shot like 11 bullets with a DMR, whiffing every single one by like a pixel. But that's not the one. That's the kind of round where that should never happen. One single player with no HP finds so much value in so many different positions. The Frostman gets the injury as well. I don't know. If that's the kind of rounds Orcs need to win to stay in this, they gotta do it 2 more times just to go into overtime. M80 can be happy with that round. You know, it's whatever. Laugh it off. You know, it was chaotic. It was messy start, right? Sport walks up the brown staircase, middle of the map, barbed wire, Finrear mine, gets shot in the back, Citizen him locked inside a library, no way out, gotta fight through and through and through. That is worst case scenario for M80, and it still comes down to the wire. 2 more rounds to go. OHC go downstairs to play intel game. Echo and Solus can deny a plant, can deny some drones. But I will say this bomb site historically does not bode well for the defense. M80 last time went for a direct approach, the blitz rush in from white staircase VIP. They got this funky lineup, Nurk, Amaru, they can do some stuff with this, but they also got the Ram. They could just go for a room clear.
I'm really worried about this. I think this is going to be a fast play for the mid floor. They get the Ram in here, get the Logis going. They just have Spoit here for auxiliary. He's here just for a threat. He's going to walk right down white. Does have some opportunity, and these logic bombs really going to help him out, but this should just be a patience play out of him. We don't want to see him oversell here. If he walked down white right there, I would have been the first one to be like, this is the biggest misplay we could potentially have. But Cameraman instead is going to be, yeah, exactly. Cameraman instead is going to be setting things up. Gomez, does he want to go for this hop? Oh, what? Oh my. Wow. That is quite something out of Cameraman. He's going to put Gomez on a billboard, on a milk carton. Somebody go find this guy because he's not here.
That's actually a really crucial kill there for the attacking side. Now you buy that man advantage very early on. Solus means, like, Solus down means now your last 4 drones, which isn't a lot, but, you know, they're gonna count now. Hopefully I can spot it out. And risk assessment, right? OHT, they're very much fighting in these rounds. They're not just sitting back playing to lose. They're trying to play to win, try and seek out those plays, try and build those early advantages, but it goes punished sometimes. That's the game, that's life. But now the question comes, do they play the 4v5 like they would normally, or do they feel a little bit desperate? Do they want to over-aggress? Because I would argue that you want to try and make this a 4v4, but that means another player has to take a similar risk, and if that person also dies, you're looking at 5v3, and then it's just much less likely to be won.
On Dream, the pressure is now starting to build up for the closet position. Does have one outside, lobby double. Saw that brown player too. Middle hops in, he's directly under him. He has no idea. He doesn't look down, and Dream finds one. An activation has to come from brown stairs now. M80, they have to hit their stride. Citizen waiting things out with that suppressor still live. Able to at least get rid of the camera. But things going to hit kind of a lull moment for just a split second. Dream continuing to hold on to coat check. That's the one thing here. M80, they've actually got a nice wrap around this site. So many different entry points that they can try and exploit, but new, he's prepared, at least for the freezer angle. He'll take down Kiki, he'll take down Spoit, and can he assist with this more frontward assault that's now starting to build? Citizen does have this side angle, and Cameraman trying to assist, but Cameraman actually going to take down DS Dream. He can't find the last, and Cameraman, he's gotten it down to the 1 versus 1. Would you have it any other way? Cameraman, can you send us on to Night Haven Labs right here, right now? News completely repositioned himself. There is no case for Cameraman. He has to try and hunt down New, who's completely removed himself from the entire area. He's in a whole different zip code, and that's going to be the Oxygen round.
So the win condition of OHG have one different player pop off in each round all the way into overtime. You see right there, a little bit of frustration now maybe kicking in for M80 because they feel it's slowly slipping away. Yeah, when you're up, you know, 5-1, you can lose a round. It's all funsies, no big deal. But now, OHG are 1 round away from taking it into overtime, and they are riding this momentum. Newers did such a great job avoiding the verticality, finding those 2 picks. Dream playing shotgun inside of the closet is a tough position to play. You gotta fight many different positions, but he did a great job at finding value in that round. They also had one yokai left alive. I saw the player spectating it, and it's always one of those, okay, you're playing Echo in a tough position. Are you gonna gamble the 50-50 gunfight or hop on your yokai for intel? If you make the wrong decision, you'll die without a fight. Instead, Dream went for the 1-for-1 trade, got 1 kill at least in the round. OXG, they will go to Reading Library. This could be their final moment before we go to third map. Last time the issue for them, they surrendered top floor a little bit too early in the round. They all fell back at about 57 seconds left. That's when the attacker started destroying the floor vertically. So try and beat that timer. Hold on the top floor until maybe 30, 45 seconds. You know, every second matters. Or in the perfect world, maybe fight the entire round upstairs. Because it is so common that we see you lose top floor as a defender in this bomb site, you lose the round. M80, they bring out that same stable lineup. They can do it all. They can lock down the flanks, break down the verticality, they can gain intel, they can also call out with that global gadget of Dokkaebi. They are again ready for anything to be happening in this round.
I feel confident in the soft destruction provided by Spoid as well as Kiki with that DMR too. They did have the RAM in the lineup there for a little bit, but that was ill-advised. Get something that's a little bit more adaptable, especially with her 3 armor capabilities, just something that doesn't exactly fit M80 in a situation like this where they might want to be a little bit more free-flowing. This top floor is still going to be a hot commodity for M80 and more than likely going to be the priority of where this offense is going to try and set their hat. These drones are mostly going to be focused in the area. It's been a nice setup for Oxygen that we've seen so far. Now some deployables, some Kiva barriers, as well as some barbed wire in the area for Christmas. But we all know the heart of this thing is all the way over in Cocktail as well as Freezer.
You see why they're droning Piano that much, like 3 times? Because they see the setup. There's 3 Keeper barriers. They're thinking there is no way that nobody's playing Piano. They've spent so many resources setting that up. There has to be a guy hiding in a rat position, but there isn't. OXG, they have actually spent all these Keeper barriers and just falling back early on. I've likely heard the Capital weapon or expected to be played out, maybe spotted the operator and thought, you know what, that's a risky play. Fall back, play the 5v5, try and start on time, but look at this sport, advancing very swiftly, 1 minute 20, and they gotta try and hold on for as long as possible on the top floor.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? As you said, we need to see what time they peel back, and it's going to be a very similar timing to the last time. The player rushing down white too. Cameraman, he almost had it on the rotation right there. I mean, just on the coattails of the Oxygen players mulling about. An air jab goes down, almost able to swing through, but that OXG player over inside a fireplace still has that angle, and Cameraman must be wary. The rest of M80 has to start building up this bomb site. It's not just this one point of contact that we're seeing. Back and forth we go as it gets down to a 4 versus 4. Dream's gonna be sold out on white stairs. He can't get the SMG up in time, and he'll end up getting gunned down instead. It's a 4 versus 3. Gomez has to try and get in position, and what a position he's found. But what? The verticality from Spoit. He wasn't prepared for the angles to work their way in. And now M80, after taking down Yogg, it's looking like it's all but sealed that we go on to map 3. Diaz, he's gonna have to try and say something about this, but how much can you say when there's 4 people alive? He'll spray for 1, but he's dead before the second body can even be discovered. M80 take away Oxygen's map just like they did to them earlier today.
It's backwards, right? It's kind of backwards right now, which means the third map, well, it's no one's map. It's the decider, and I really don't know what to expect. It feels like when M80 can control the pace, when their out of nowhere plays are actually working out and they're like quick in the rounds, they're in full control. And they couldn't do it on Chalet, which is funny because it's arguably the easier map to do it on, but in my opinion at least. Night Even Lab, different than Cafe, different than Chalet. No idea what to expect, but hopefully nobody flops over. No 7-0s, no quick one-sided matches. Let's make it intense, make it close.
Oh, and you know what? I will say this about that map, Nick. That's the one thing Nighthaven Labs has continued to provide ever since it got in the map pool. It's kind of like Consulate for me, man. There's just a lot of things asked of both teams. You can have serious map control, a lot of roam presence. It's just so much damn fun. And that's why we're going to send you to a break as fast as we can so we can get back here with Nighthaven Labs. We'll see you in a bit.
M80 and Cafe usually isn't a mixture that has a lot of chemistry, but in this matchup, it set off a chain reaction of absolutely scientific proportions. They take OXG's own map pick. We now have to go to a map 3, but we're doing it left wondering whether this game could have ended even sooner than a 7-5 scoreline would have suggested.
I mean, I definitely think this round differential could have easily have been a 7-2 or a 7-3. There was a lot of miscommunication or misplays from M80's end. I mean, one round specifically was, I believe it was round 9. You see Noodle jump into, oh my gosh, I can't even think right now. Why am I blanking right now? It's a long night.
Yeah.
But anyways, Noodle jumps in, Dream is right underneath him. They can't convert that new kill, then they end up just losing that round entirely due to Newer's huge play of just delaying as much time as possible. Then it comes down to that 1v1. They can't get that bomb down.
Yeah, it really felt like M80 were running away with this game, obviously on defense. Defender side of Cafe, not the biggest shock in the world. This is always a map that's been very difficult for the attackers to find success on. But in particular, it felt like M80 were really nailing those rounds down a lot more confidently than Oxygen were. Obviously, it was a 5-1 half for M80, followed by a 4-2 half for Oxygen. So round count-wise, it wasn't that different. But I do think there were a lot of really big individual plays from Oxygen, particularly from DS to come through and save some of those rounds where even on attack, M80 looked like the better team, but they just weren't able to close that out.
Yeah, and the site was closet. Well, the room was closet that I was talking about, so that's on me. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised, and I'm not surprised at the same time. I wanted M80 to bring this aggressive in, the aggression that they didn't have, or that they were letting up on in that Chalet match that ended up losing to OXG. They were a lot more aware of what the map was looking like, and you could clearly see that demonstrated through a lot of their play on these sites.
The only time we saw OXG win a round in that first half was when we heard the call-in. Dream as Monty. He's directing traffic, realizes it's a 4v3, and then they can pick the other players off. Every other round for M80 in that first half felt super systematic, and it's another case of if it's a 5-1 half in the first half, at least this stage, it's usually gone the way of the team. It's been 5-1 up.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that that round came right after attack timeout, right? Clearly, Auction had taken some time, and not only were they able to punish the aggression that came out from M80 right after that tactical timeout, M80 tried to go for some spawn peeks, didn't exactly find success out of it, but they also started bringing the Monty more and more. And even though it didn't work in rounds 5 or 6, the Monty did have a big impact that one round, and we heard with the listening how effective Dream was able to use that operator. So, you know, I like that there was a attack timeout that was taken. There was clearly some ideas behind it. They clearly executed on those ideas. They just couldn't keep it up for more than one round.
And even touch up on the Monty play. I mean, sure, it might not have been like the most perfect thing we've seen in general, but he was able to use that information and really set his team up for success. And I've talked about it time and time again. Like, Dream does a really good job at relaying that information to his team, letting him know what he wants to do. He wants to get in that plant position. How are we going to do that? And then we saw exactly how they did that, how they were going to execute it, and it worked beautifully.
This game was won for M80 in the first half. It seemed like because of the way that they were able to stall for time so often whenever OXG were trying to attempt something. One round in particular stuck out as a pretty prime example of what happens when you bring a Goyo.
Yeah, the time waste was pretty incredible from M80. This is round 5, and on both of the reading rooms, it took so long for Auction to actually get to the bomb site. First, they got to spend like a minute getting into the building, right? They got to run to the building. Then they got to rappel up to the roof. Then they got to drone the entire top floor. And it's good droning. They find the players, right? They do a good job. And they have some players maybe were coming up from the bottom. But it takes them so long to get their Monty here. And as soon as the Monty gets up to the top floor, it's a Goyo canister. So, okay, we got to wait out a Goyo canister. It takes a little bit of damage onto Dream, but now we're starting to walk forward. There's obviously the obs blocker down there. There's the barbed wire. They do go through and they get a couple of kills. Great job. But it's not until, I think, 25 seconds or so when we first see, there it is, the Monty finally drops down to the main floor. And then when he drops down to the main floor as well, what's he greeted by? Another Goyo canister. More toxic babes. It really was great stalling coming through from M80 on that reading room bomb site. The first round they did it, round 2, it mostly came off of Spoit doing some crazy things, getting a bunch of kills.
Spoit does as Spoit does, yeah.
Yeah, but the second time they ran it, I liked that they used a lot of that utility to achieve the same effect without relying on one player popping off and putting out some incredible frags.
Again, and then you even saw, we're talking about this is a game. Who's going to get the pick first? How's that going to turn out? Both teams are still staying relatively close in terms of these these initial picks. It was 6 and 6 for both these teams on the opening kills. Obviously, M80 was running away with that. Again, it came down to small mistakes here, and this also isn't the first time that we see a team beat the other team on their map choice.
Yep.
And it won't be the last time that we see that. And again, I think going now into Nighthaven, this is going to be a map where both teams don't necessarily want to be playing, but they're ending up here nonetheless.
I did specifically want to touch on that. You said in pregame, before we even got to Nighthaven, if we see a Nighthaven, it's probably because neither team necessarily specializes in it, because we haven't seen them play it before. It's almost like if we got to map 3, it's kind of a good and a bad thing for both sides. Can we elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so Auction Esports were the first team in history in all of Rainbow Six to lose Nighthaven Labs. That was way back when it got introduced, Stage 2 of the NAL. No other region had played it at that time. Oxygen lost it. They haven't played it since.
Wow.
Old M80 were very good at Nighthaven Labs, actually. This was one of their favorite maps, but with this brand new roster, they've obviously changed a lot of moving parts. We haven't seen them play it yet so far this stage. So for both of them, it's not a map that they've been to in recent times. Both of them have been avoiding it through the stage so far, so it's really a mystery box as we go into it now.
I mean, speaking for that mystery box, what's going to be the mystery box? What I think is going to completely determine this map in general is who lets up on the gas. I think if someone can't keep that aggression going, whether that's on the defense, whether that's on the attack, that is going to be the team that falls here. Everyone needs to be staying on top of each other, whether it's their own individual performance, whether that's the team performance as a whole. Everyone needs to be adapting. Everyone needs to be showing up. And the first team that falls underneath that is not going to be walking away from this.
We're seeing a majorly defensive series, just looking at how rounds have played out so far through both maps. The team that starts out on defense first in this case is M80, so if there's any team that doesn't let off the gas, to your point, it's probably them, right?
And that's going to be the most important thing. And yeah, starting on this defensive half is really going to set yourself up for success here. But again, that goes into being able to adapt to, and that's also going to come on Oxygen's forefront as well. If they can't get into the building, what's going to be the next solution? Are they going to bring a shield? Are they going to bring a blitz? Like, what is that going to look like?
Please don't give Kino shields. I beg you, stop doing that, Kino.
Now he's resorting to
If you have blitz, use the blitz. There, I'm done. That's all I have to say.
Hey, Dark Zero Canadian ran blitz for the first time I can remember.
Yeah, and it
earlier
worked
today on Nighthaven Lab, and they won the round. So if Canadian can do it, Kino can do it too.
God, you really hope so. I'm a little bit worried about this, I think, for both teams, just because, one, not seeing anybody play a map in a long time doesn't exactly instill confidence in me that they're going to have something that immediately translates to it. But I also still think it'll be close because both maps so far have been ridiculously close, and even if OXG still let their own pick slide, they still brought it back and required 12 rounds before they won it. So I still think this one's generally up in the air, even if M80 start defense first.
No, I think this is going to be a slugfest no matter what, but what's really going to come down to is who's going to let their foot off the gas. You have to stay on the gas here. You have to be working together. You have to be problem solving at all times throughout this map.
And it's certainly a disadvantage with Auction starting on the attack on Nighthaven Labs. We've often talked about how this is a very defender-sided map, but Auction are the best attacking team in North America. Don't forget that. And even though they haven't had the most attacking success throughout the series, obviously Cafe didn't really go their way on attack, they are very proficient at it, whether that's entering in with the spearhead of Newers or Gomez, whether that's working behind the Shield of Dream. They've got a lot of fundamentally strong attacks on other maps that we've seen throughout the NAL stage. I want to see more of those here on Nighthaven, because last map wasn't quite there. I want to see them get back to it.
Two things to point out just from a very brief overall stats analysis. Diaz got target banned on map 1, still top fragged for his team, and was also still the top frag for OXG when they moved into map 2. So you have to find a way to shut him down at some point, right?
We just got to stop target banning. You got to stop target banning.
I mean, it works for some times.
It doesn't work. It realistically does not work.
If you ban, like an old Finca, if you ban that against Newers couldn't do anything back in the day.
No. This is actually such a funny point, because today, they target banned Diaz on Chalet.
Right.
The last time Auction played Chalet, Sonic's target banned Newers as Ash. And he top fragged again. He's still top fragged. I don't remember what he brought, but he brought something, Yana maybe. And he still popped off.
What else would you have brought?
I mean, I would think we're at a point in Siege where most players in most case scenarios are very versatile and can play another operator if need be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense if you've got specific strategies, obviously, and it might not be a specific person target ban. Like, when you talk about Diaz, I don't think they were like, we're afraid of what Diaz can do on Chalet. I think we're afraid of where these air jabs are going to end up, and that's why they ended up banning it. But even still, like, obviously, they're going to have ways around your operator ban when you're banning those ops that maybe have some of those more similar operators that do the same thing.
Yeah, sure.
So that's always going to be a factor.
why were Dark Zero such a good attacking team on this site, or on this map in particular? Because every other time we've seen Nighthaven played in the NAL, it's a huge defender slide for the most part. Like that Beast Coast game against Sonics comes to mind for why it was such a landslide. So if DZ were able to really lock in attacks on this map, how specifically can Oxygen, is there any note that they can pull from how DZ played earlier?
I'll say this, I think LG just overstepped in many different areas that then allowed DZ to excel in certain parts of the map.
Okay.
I'll say the Deimos, massive for Pamba when Dark Zero were running it earlier today. If that doesn't get banned out, I'd like to see Auction running some of that, because we haven't really seen them play much Deimos at all at this stage.
Fair play. Let's see if that comes to fruition in this matchup. It might require all 12 rounds again, or it might be a really bad landslide for one team or the other. It's time to find out who we're sending to Manchester, and it's Penguin Lynx ringside to send one team all the way to the UK.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but not only am I much better looking than Lynx, but I am also much taller. Hi guys, it's Stokes, it's Pengu. I'm allowed to say that. He's my duo. I can do whatever the hell I damn please. It's Nighthaven Labs. Pengu's got his cat. It's a beautiful damn day at Rainbow Six, ladies and gents. Let's see what we got going on here over at Nighthaven Labs. Nick and I did some discussions during the break, and yeah, this map's a pretty interesting one, man. What's your take on this? How do you think we're gonna see these two teams trying to apply themselves here?
So yeah, you're right. We did speak about this, and the one conclusion that we came to is that it's a little bit too defender favored so far, I would say, in NAL. I'm a little bit surprised that the tankers are doing so poorly, and you know, we look at North America and Nighthaven Lab, we're always thinking Dark Zero. They're the first team that comes to my mind when we think of this map. We can attack it, we can defend it. They played it just a couple hours ago earlier today and did pretty good on it. But OHG and M80, they got that kind of weird story that Jesse spoke about. OHG was like the first team in the world to play Nighthaven Lab, and they lost. Haven't played it since. M80, the old iteration, like playing the map, the current iteration, haven't played it this stage. So we have no idea what to expect. Operator bans, little bit of target bans, I guess. Bog, Tubarao, playing into the verticality and destruction of those reinforced walls, and then the good old staples, the Ying and the Asami. So I don't think this is gonna change too much on how this is played, but you have to play, of course, a substitute operator for the Bog, so a Sledge or a Ram. And for Tubarao, it just means that the walls will be a little bit easier to deal with, which is nice because time was an issue on Cafe for OHC's attacks, for example. That might not be as big of an issue, but OHC, they start defense this time around.
You could definitely see a couple other things maybe pouring over. Maybe, you know, the Buck obviously not going to be able to be utilized on that mid floor to potentially, you know, dig out from underneath a lot of the players when they do go for that top floor site, some things along those lines. And specifically, I really like this Tubarao ban here, Pengi. This is a map where we see a lot of delay come out from this operator in particular, and honestly, this might be one of his best maps just because of that. He's able to hold things up when it comes to this double wall. He can hold up the Animus wall too, and you can flex those over to the hatches at your leisure. So it's a really nice delay strat that's now been taken away from both of these teams, and M80 is going to be really happy about this because this is something that usually turns into a decent time sink.
Yeah, there are just some individual operators that get so much value in a given round. I mean, it's why they're meta, right? Like Asami, Fenrir, they're played almost every single round they're open. Same with Solace. It's just like they can do stuff that other operators cannot do at all, or they just do it simply better in every single aspect. I think Tubarao is very unique there. You can really stall a lot of time in a guaranteed way, unlike, for example, the Goyo or the Kaid that gets countered by a Twitch drone or an EMP, for example. Now, early stages, M80, they're working two angles. Kino, on the breach alone, is gonna pop those reinforced walls. The rest of M80, gonna rotate towards the roam clear, go up top floor, open up kitchen window, apply that phantom pressure by opening windows and doors. Even if you're not gonna entry and use them, it does apply pressure to defense. You think, oh, there might be a guy in this window. You truly don't know. So the first 60 seconds is the setup for the roam clear. It's really important, like Cafe, you get in the building. You get that foothold, a safe, comfortable area, and then you can start progressing and working through the map, hopefully picking up a kill or two, but you gotta do it somewhat quickly. You wanna have at least 40 seconds by the time you get to the bomb site to actually do that execute.
Yeah, a tried and true method of old consulate, right? Just open up all the windows, get them used to things, and eventually one of them's occupied, and you never really would have second guessed it, would you? But now you're dead on the floor, and the offense has a lot easier time trying to take things. And Yeah, this is another map that you can kind of deal with it like that. There's a lot of very important ones, like that window that we see occupied all the time on the northern side that kind of cuts the map up directly. You can see those rotates coming out from barrels. It's just a really, really nice spot, but nobody really there for M80. Besides the point, though, they're trying to focus things up on site, trying to get these utility drawn in, getting rid of these castle barricades and starting to peel things back. Kiki's also lost his life to Dream, which, of all people, is the one playing the Fenrir. We usually see him be the more methodical one, but this time around, definitely not the case. He's going to get in a fight with Cameraman and lose that one, but it's the trade game back and forth. It's down to a 3 versus 3.
It is. Nobody comes out to victor right now, but there we go. Cameron finds another pick, actually, leading the charge for his team. Citizen on 1 point of health. Diffuser outside, but again, Yarkin at 1v3 now. OXG is falling apart very quickly for them.
It definitely is, and I don't think the roam strategy was the worst thing in the world, because it's just Auction being real with themselves, right? They know what the fact that this tuber round does exist. Dog. Nice shot. For sure, you'll take him down. I don't think he gets much past this. Cameraman's already got the case. He's going to start planning this. This is probably his best opportunity, as he will have the disjointed 1 versus 1. But as soon as he makes his presence known, it's a change of position and a nice shot from the R4C that it's not only his demise, but also the fate of the round. It's the first one will go the way of M80.
Every single tagging round is going to be very important, given the fact it's a defender-sided map. So 2-4 favoring defense, that will be the most likely outcome you can expect statistically, but if you're good at attacking team, you can get a 3-3, you can get a 4-2 half in your favor. Anything is possible. And I want to give credit to Cameraman, because when we talk about like old school like IGLs who's been playing for a long time, someone like Cameraman comes to mind, so like Troy Canadian, but they play very different roles. Cameraman, for example, often was the first man in, just getting those gunfights, and doesn't really mind that if he dies. He becomes like an intro and Dukubi very often. Whereas Canadian will roam on defense, for example, but play more of like a flex role on the attack, finding himself in the middle of the round usually. And I really like to see this, where a player who maybe not be known for his greatest gun skill anymore, in someone like Cameraman, who still puts himself in the front. You know what, guys, I can do it. I don't care. With someone Cafe locking down White Staircase, just like fighting the entire round. Again, he's not gonna sit on cams the entire time, set things up, because the other players from M80, they are also very vocal. I mean, I've played with Citizen back in the G2 days. He can talk a lot when he wants to, when he sees those openings, when he sees opportunities. He's a very creative player. I know Kino's vocal. I know Noodle is vocal as well. Spoy can IGL when he played FPL back in the day on stream. So there is not a lack of a voice for M80. That means that, again, they have that flexibility. If one man's not going to do the job, and a different person will, someone's getting it done every single time. And that's very crucial in these rounds.
Man, crazy to the degree they can stretch that as well, just because of their capabilities. That's the one thing. Yeah, you might know a lot of things, you might be a little flexible, but then your mechanics come in to kind of give you that self-check, right? And be like, all right, here's the check and balance of what you can do, bucko. But not for M80. That's something you will never have to try and quantify when it comes to this team. They got killers across the board. Even, as he said, Cameraman. I mean, yeah, he might have lost some of his mechanics across the years, but that brain is sharp as ever, and he can still find a gunfight or two when it matters most. And that's the thing. This team has been so dynamic, especially coming together on the form that they have. I mean, this stage, they've looked really, really good, and they've continued to prosper even through kind of the self-discovery period.
You saw Dream play the Monty, now it's Kino's turn instead, and it's great for this round. You can walk up catwalk, approach the mirror window, slap it, punch it, bonk, shatter it, glass. Now you can't see through it. Summon goes out, C4. Take a little bit of damage. Summon charge goes off though. Line of sight established from M80's attack, and again, 1 minute 30 seconds left. They're already by the bombs at walls. They got the Monty, but Noodle doesn't realize the wall was open next to him, and he falls to the blind spot.
That right there, that's just a little miscommunication. Whether it was said or not, it's really just up to if Noodle heard it, right? That's the key thing. Sometimes things are said and they are just not heard. But Citizen, he's very well aware now, as they'd have to donate a body to the situation to be able to know exactly what the heck's going on. Still have some fire to his name as well, some smokes. So I see those arrows come out soon. Ermin will have to work his way in. I think he's going to go for the blue stairs angle here, just be that Dagger to the cloak that's being built up on this front. Cameraman, he's gonna kill Kino. How the hell has this happened? This has completely upended this round. Yeah, Cameraman finds Yogg, but it's still a 3 versus 4. Okay, Spoit kills 1. This is just such an oddity. We are off in just la-la land. We have fallen down into a completely different realm of reality. And Spoit, he's gonna force the hand. He's gonna force the hand of the gods. He's planting. Is it going to be successful? There's no way. I'm about to start cursing. This is insane. What? Oh my God. Like, they get this plant off. There's a nitro cell still in Dream's pocket. There's a post plant. Cameraman's using the deployable shield setup against the defense. As he's in the hallway, he's going to try and kill this blue player. Nitro cell out on him. Cameraman will gun him down. They know he's in the area. Somebody has to kill somebody, and they get it done. Oxygen on 2 different planets take 2 different gunfights, and they win both of them. It's an Oxygen round. That was something else. That was otherworldly.
If you replay that round with the Monty alive, though, how will that play out, right? That's the big question in my mind. The team kill makes the round look unwinnable in nature. But then still, they get the 3-3, they get the plant posted down, but the post plant not so strong. That bomb site upstairs is not like Chalet bar, where once the bomb goes down, you sit outside the building and you are laughing because that is almost an unwinnable spot to be in, even like a 1v2 or 3. But like we saw there, you gotta fight it inside the bomb site, backs against the wall type deal. Actually, they claw it back. Just like on Cafe, you can... They just... Wait, hold on. I think... Oh, okay, DS just spent an impact grenade. No big deal. No big deal. Just impacted the wall. Stupid, silly wall. Double go your stack here. I guess that's a prediction for the potential plant spot. Pushing to Animus. Walk in there. Plant in the corner. Or if I can stop it, of course. That's why it's there. OXG, they do have a roam game lineup here again, like the Castle, the Legion, the Solace. Decided not to roam. This time they gotta stay alive either for a bit longer or fall back earlier to keep those numbers high.
That's the thing. That's where the decision making gets really hard. Yeah. And I'm gonna pick your brain on this too, because this is what I love about casting with you, Nick. I can just like bounce things off you. It's just like a ping pong ball with a paddle. The thing is with this, right, is like Oxygen knows that they're not going to be able to hold up these walls. Like, yeah, you can bandit trick and stuff like that and try and play turtle downstairs, but as soon as M80 gets presence, those walls are going to open. So instead, they're going to try and hold map control, and it's really just down to trying to hold on to this verticality. Now, does M80 just try and spearhead here, or do you think playing into the setup's a better option? For Kiki, it's looking like he just wants to try and flirt with this, but you can see there's a lot more going on for the cogs.
Yeah, I feel like you can definitely approach it like from a direct perspective, but you would need like a glass or, you know, a blitz yin kind of situation, like the chaos effect. I don't think maybe they have the right orbital lineup for this, but they are rotating Noodle, so maybe Kino recognizes that, hey, there might be a gap here. They got the barricade, they get the intel right now, but again, they gotta clear the bulletproof camera, the Goyo fire canisters. I don't know if they can approach this directly, but at least applying pressure on the side, making that a dark area on the map but denying intel, it will pressure OHC to make that decision. Hey guys, you need to fall back and help the bomb site because it's too much pressure for one man to handle. And that one man is Dream, and you see he's on the right hand side, he's just watching a bulletproof camera and default cam. If they can clear the second bulletproof camera, oh, that's a nice use there, the EMP, and he has no intel. That could be an issue for them.
I like this out of Noodle though. To your point, he's trying to make it to where this angle that they're utilizing is more active. There's somebody here trying to shoot. Even if you don't hit anybody, even if he just lets off a couple shots here, having that presence there, Oxygen goes, oh, we have to have somebody paying attention to this area. And that makes it where the rest of M80 can start to exploit this mid-level, start to look for these gaps, start to look for these entry points like Spoit is right now. You can see he's trying to search for this player down low, whether it be through verticality or through the stairwell, which would be a more direct means. It doesn't really matter. What does matter is that the kill has to come, and it has to come very soon. A lot of damage is going to be done to Dream. Oxygen still have a player all the way upstairs just walking around inside of IT2, in fact, inside of Garage. And they've got a great angle here through the Garage hatch.
Yeah, this roam retake could be very dangerous. They got the hatch control. We see them rotating over. Sport inside that small box. Looking for the kill. Has to read, but it's M80 opening things up in that 5v4.
Nice find here. Gomez, he's going to reclaim. They'll be able to at least hold on to this hatch for now. Now the question comes, where does this case go? how do they try and hold things down with the fact that they know that there's quite a few bodies off site, but it seems to be the hammer here for M80. No scalpel needed as they kill practically every Oxygen member right at the mention of the word. As soon as they call kill, everybody falls. M80 not only get the plant, they get all the kills too. A beautiful round on this offense as they reassault the basement level. They find a round.
And that's 2 attacks now. Yeah, I gotta wonder how many more can they get before this is just like done and dusted, because we're assuming that this will indeed be a defender-sided 9-11, all things are said and done. And I want to say, OXG don't look all that comfortable or experienced so far on that Haven lap. Like, they're doing what other teams are doing, right? They're playing basement or roam, that makes sense. But they're not finding success. It's a 5 versus 5. That's where roamers on basement, they should be thriving. But everything gets picked apart. They're losing the roam, they're losing the site all at once. Bomb is going down. More guns on the attack, just holding the same angle against that like one defender on the bomb side. And it falls apart very quickly. I like a bomb side change. Just like go somewhere else. Figure it out. Basement's not working. Don't worry about it. You have 2 more rounds. Well, this one. And well, yeah, you have 2 more rounds. Play it out. Try and get that, you know, 3-3 half, 2-4 half, whatever.
Attacker's objective is to locate.
Yes, kind of said
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah. I feel like I lost it there, but
I'm vibing with it.
The desk kind of spoke about that. It's about who likes to go off the gas first is gonna fall, and the way that these guys are going for Exceed, they're kind of like slow walking around the map. They're not really super confident where the attack is coming from. And you have an operator like IQ available to you. Sure, like now, Noodles on IQ, for example, that's a bit of a counter, but there are Intel operators available if you want to play them. But I think this goes back to also Cafe. If defenders start playing Maestro, you start seeing Brava. Play IQ, you see IQ. And maybe they're very happy to flex these different attacking operators that directly counter their opponents on Intel, and that's really punishing OXG.
100%, especially on these roams. That's the biggest thing. M80 did not oversell things in either one of those rounds. It was a perfectly baked cake, and there was really nothing that Oxygen could do about it. I mean, they just simply got gunned down by an M80 onslaught. They're looking to do something very similar here. What a find from Spoit. I mean, the most ash-coated thing I've ever seen in my life. An ash charge to the wall. He sprays the man down the hatch. New, in a very new form of himself, we'll be able to discover at least a player on the top floor. That'll be Cameraman, but Cameraman sometimes better dead than he is alive, as he'll be IGLing his team to smithereens, I'm sure, throughout the remainder of round 4.
You can also always make the argument that when you trade 1-for-1, attackers get maybe a slight favor sometimes, because having a dead player on default cams just tells you like what's clear. But you typically know what's clear already as a defender. But when an attacker dies, you get to watch flank cams. You get to see what you don't know is clear. So very good intel to be gathered here. Guaranteed flank watch as long as the drone is in the right position for M80, and still get all their primary gunners up for the bumps that execute later on, which is exactly what they want. Kino sees one player, taps away. He's a little bit slow this game to find the scoreboard 0-3, but you're playing this difficult challenge role of hard reach. Often the round will be over by the time you enter the building. So Kino might not be in the best spot necessarily to get those gunfights. Spoit looking for another, but there's 2 pieces of Baba here to stop him.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
Ash walking through the basement, makes a lot of noise with the breaching round. More bodies fall for Oxygen. Diaz, this is a must-win fight. There is no other way that this can go. No ifs, ands, or buts. Either way it comes out, he must win out this engagement, whether it's that top floor one or the bottom floor. It comes now. It's going to be a great moment for Spoit, though. It's going to be a double kill for him. This R4C, so very deadly in his hands. By the way, did we forget to mention that this is the least played bomb site on this entire map, as it only had 1 play so far in the entirety of NA. And it had a 100% win rate up until that moment. And now it's 50. I know, crazy math, insane. What a round there from M80.
I'm not sure if it was a good round from M80. It was a good round from Spoit, though, right? I mean, that guy did so much work. Entry kill, basically final kill, middle round kill. Like, he's all over the map. Entry, straight back to basement, up a staircase, take down the dog, find the guy anchoring the bomb site as well. Of course, the entire team is working around it and setting spot up for success, but that is pretty much like a one-man army. And look at this kill count. 8-1 for Spoit. 1 kill Noodle. 0 kill Kino. Let's not mention Citizen and Cameron because then it seems less crazy, but you know, they're 5 and 4 kills. But Spoit put on like a masterclass of performance, playing the Ashe operator. And Ashe is kind of tricky right now. If you play Ashe and there's no mirror on the enemy team, you're chilling. You are a +1 roaming gun. You can do whatever you want. Like he Ashe charged a wall to get a kill and then Baba to get a second kill. Not the highest value, but certainly worth it. But now when there is a mirror, and if you want to play the Ashe, you have to reserve those Ashe breaching charges just for the mirror window. Because a direct hit on a mirror window with an Ashe breaching charge will shatter it like a melee punch, and that is how you counter mirror more often than not, especially on maps like Oregon Basement, here Nighthaven Lab. But instead they go off the Ashe. Spoit now goes hard breach on Ace, because guess what? It is Kino Monty time once more.
I love this. And not only that, it's a double hard breach here for M80. And ever since they put Ace in this game, man, ever since I saw a hard breach enter the building that had an AK-12, I was like, oh, give this to a flex player. Give this to somebody that is good on guns. And that's exactly what we're seeing here with Spoit. He's that secondary layer of hard breach. Yeah, you can use those Selmas to potentially break open really whatever you want to, but the main thing is that it's very quick and you still have that AK-12. I love this from Spoit. A beautiful moment right there. Even the pre-fire to boot, just to make sure if somebody wants to test his gangster, he's got some bullets going down range.
Could have been a free pick, but thankfully for OXG, they're tucked behind the mirror. They're playing pretty safe inside. Good work there from the IQ. Noodle finds the Valve cam. They get Garrett's default cam, and they're again progressing catwalk rafters, even quicker than the last time. 1 minute 50 seconds. All they gotta do now, Kino walk up, shatter by punching that mirror window, and probably do the exact same attack as last time. But hopefully, Cameraman doesn't take down Kino this time on Aqua side later on.
Oh. You can see Citizens worked his way in. And this does provide a lot of different ways that M80 can go about this. First things first, they will start things off exactly the way that Pengu was talking about. They want to try and get rid of this mirror window, and in return, Oxygen will also break it out just to make it a live angle instead. Not the worst thing in the world. They are going to use the Nitro Cell, and that's actually going to go wide, same as Yaga's shot. Unfortunately enough, they are going to lose Gomez too, so M80 now in the driver's seat officially here, especially with Kino and this pressure starting to build. A nice moment for Diaz, though. We'll discover Cameraman inside of Connector. Spoit does have one over near IT to try and gun out, but it's going to be Noodle instead to find Dream. Now we're down to a 4 versus 3. And Kino, he's actually shifted gears through that window all the way over to the top of blue. There's somebody in behind this deployable shield too to boot. No Nitro Cell, nothing really doing for Yaga in this scenario. How's he gonna fight back this shield? Maybe you can potentially fight somebody that tries to reinforce this situation, but I mean, at least he has that going for him. M80 still have to try and find a way in and get this plant. It's gonna be on Spoit. He's got the case. Not exactly the person we would expect to have it, but somebody's got to do the dirty jobs, especially after Cameraman's died. New's got a great find, almost with a second one, a nade in, and now the orange will start to take control, but as soon as I say that, Noodle with a great find and a knife to end it all at the end of the day. M80, they're gonna bowl over the top floor setup.
Do you still have the numbers in front of you about how defender-sided this map was, Samuel, or those numbers gone?
I do.
Okay.
I got them.
Okay, can we break it down? Because we're seeing a 4 attacker round victory so far for M80.
Now, mind you, and you said this yourself, so I'm just going to put this on full blast here.
Okay.
NA has been weird this stage, okay? It has been mad weird in comparison to a lot of other regions, strictly on a statistical basis. That's really it. I think there's been a lot of things going for a lot of teams where they're just trying to figure things out, and that's perfectly fine. But to that degree, Nighthaven Labs in America, this is going to be its 4th play. With the 3 plays that we have had, Nick, is a 76% overall defensive win rate, only being eclipsed by Skyscraper at 78, and Skyscraper actually has less plays, so less sample size. That's a really key thing. Now, here's the thing. When we come down to bomb sites, every single one of them is successful. I know you're not shocked about that. But the biggest winner now that Kitchen Cafeteria is at a straight 50-50 after that loss that we saw earlier. Assembly Tank, the downstairs site, is actually the most successful at 85% on 13 plays. The most played bomb site, it sits at 85%.
And OXG have played it twice, and they have lost it twice.
Correct. With the
That
roaming
is-
strategy.
That is actually impressive in the wrong way, if you will. That
It is,
not
but
good.
it also goes to show just how incredibly important Tubarão is to this setup. He
That's a
is
fair point.
so important when it comes to these walls and keeping things locked up.
Now, sure, are they gonna roam again? I mean, okay, they got the
They
mirror
have
windows.
to, I feel. You know what I mean? I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
they
know how
might
you feel
have
about this,
to.
but I feel like you're forced to, because if M80 are allowed to take that mid floor, you're dead anyways.
I mean, it's a fair point, right? How do you want to go down? I mean, go down swinging, right? Fight it out. At least in the room, you can get a chance to get that early pick and then maybe fall back later on. The big adaptation is no castle barricades this time around, but a mirror window, likely for the bomb site itself to again make
Oh,
it.
I like this.
Yeah, I like it too. So now the roam will protect the staircases. The mirror window will oversee both of the primary breach entry points towards the direct bomb site. So this gives OXG a more, let's say, safe position, because last time was just Dream playing there on Fenrir with a bulletproof camera overseeing the site. That's it. So if you get caught on bad timing, it's over. Well, now with the mirror windows, well, Sport has to now rotate or a Twitch drone to deal with those first before you can approach the side as well.
That was the biggest thing about this previous setup with those two roams. Is it was like that guy at the gym that only does arms. You know, it was very top heavy. Just not a lot of legs to stand on. And Oxygen now have those legs. Leg day has worked in, a little cardio too, I'm sure. And I think these mirror windows are going to do a lot of good for Oxygen's setup, because that's been the main thing, right? Oxygen, or rather M80, have been able to run roughshot over that downstairs setup just because of the lack of presence from Oxygen. Not only that, but the lack of setup for those, you know, lack of presence players to play around. And that makes things really difficult at the end of the day, especially when you have to go up against Citizen and Spoit on the same team, because that happened for some reason. So, I mean, it's not a fair fight, some would say.
Speaking of Sport and M80, let's give a quick listen and see how they will attack this final round in the first half on this basement attack.
Pushing lobby, guys.
Knock that, guys.
There's two sides still. Mirror.
Let's
push fire then.
One storage. One storage.
I'm pushing
this one storage.
Where is he?
In the middle of storage. I'm going to red ping him.
I'm joining
It's
cryo.
on
They have a
ping.
shield
It's on yellow
connector.
ping.
They have a mirror cryo.
There's two above. There's two above.
Let's go vending. Let's go vending.
Yeah, I'm going vending. I'm going vending. Chill. Ben, just bait these guys.
Yeah, one's AV. Okay, so Warden, AV. Mirror's on the mirror's lab.
All right. Okay.
So one AV, one lab.
We're pushing down
guys,
cryo right now. Yeah, let's go, camera.
It's all. Yeah,
that's fine.
Lab.
Lab got me.
It's on the lab mirror, bro.
Lab 1 HP. One mirror with me.
Where do you want me?
Here left, Willie.
Each side. I'm pushing. Camera pushing.
It's on lab still.
Yeah, peek me. Dead.
Wait for me.
Peeking.
Fight the lab guy. Hard left, Ben. Was like somewhere hard left.
He was close here. Doors clear.
One down. Got him.
AV.
Stand ping off.
No, cargo. Let's one. On tank, okay?
You win. Nice try, bro.
Oh, my bad, bro.
Double up.
Damn.
Oh, a little miscommunication there as they're calling for that player on the mid floor, but Dream's already dropped. He's got that angle, and not only that, but he locks up that M80 player in the corner.
Yeah, that, and then we saw, like, we heard Willie Spoit said at the end there, the double up was misplayed by M80, where Spoit wanted the cameraman to bait for Spoit, walk in, PT guy close left, and then, you know, cameraman might die, but Spoit gets the trade. Instead, cameraman Jacob peeks it, runs away, Spoit swings the guy and dies, and then cameraman doesn't get the trade. So again, yeah, miscommunication, a lot of things happening, but ultimately, I mean, if you're M80, you're super happy with a 4-2 side starting attack. Sure, 2 per hour spend, that's gonna make the defense a little bit more difficult, especially on the downstairs hold, but still, not just getting 4 rounds, but roam clearing efficiently, being very quick to the punch, and that's even with one of those rounds, losing to a team kill essentially, right? On that upstairs attack earlier on, so I think maybe can be very happy with this first half.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing is that when it comes to this map, we've seen a lot of teams work these defenses in different ways. It'll have the same soul to it, right? It'll be a roam or whatever it is. But the operators in the exact way that they set things up around the map is somewhat different. So it's been very enjoyable to kind of explore on a team-by-team basis. And I expect M80 to be somewhat similar. I mean, we do have another roam strategy going on here. This top floor being more than exploited. I mean, it's been completely set up. It's now a device for M80 to try and use it as a catalyst against Oxygen on this full map clear.
M80 though, I mean, they got the play style for this. They got the kind of players that they wanna roam. They wanna have freedom to make their own decisions and go for the fights that they see fit. And someone like Nuers, who normally does the injury work for HD, he's on Ram. If he dies, no self-destruction, no verticality. He's playing Ram, not the ass, so a bit slower here to the punch. Every single attack and operator right now is so valuable. If anyone dies, it's either hard breach, counter on the IQ, soft destruction, or Dokkaebi. There's no good deaths for XG. There's no sacrificial operator. This is pretty much like a, we need 5 attackers alive, and we need them alive for the entirety of the round until that bomb set execute. But M80, we know them as a team. They're not gonna just let go of the roam for nothing. They're gonna either burn down the clock, kill all your drones, or get a couple of kills before they give up that roam.
Logi bomb out for Yaw, gonna stun so he can disengage from the window. Tried and true play. We'll get him out of a scenario yet again, as it has a million times over for a million other Siege players. As we continue to hold things on for Barrel, Oxygen do have complete oversight when it comes to any garage presence that M80 wants to try and swing through. But so far, so unbelievably good for M80. Oxygen have been paying full attention to what is going on this mid-top floor setup. M80, the only person that's taken any damage was Noodle, who was placed all the way at the top of blue stairs with mute. And he somehow made his way all the way back to site. So what I'm trying to tell you is M80, they're doing a bang-up job of trying to hold things down right now in round 7.
They are. There's only 4 drones left for the attack. So now there's 3. Soul is still alive. The roam is still actually happening as well. A retake possibly here in towards Stock from Citizen and his teammate of Solid as well. Cameron is now injured though, so the attack is advancing the bomb set itself.
Citizen. Crucial moment here, but he doesn't check the pillar position. Gomez patiently awaiting his arrival, and he will be rewarded. Exploit now forced to try and hide in behind the bomb chassis. Kino does have some presence starting to build up on the main breach. No reinforcements on that, so ease of access gifted over to Oxygen. They do have some soft destruction, but Gomez and New, they died to Noodle and Kino. How has this happened? It's just down to Diaz, and now it's M80 all across the storm as they'll close things out. Once again, looking like a beautiful day for them on this Saturday.
I mean, if you're playing for a major spot, why not get fired up? This matters a lot to these players. And I mean, and maybe they had, let's be honest, they had a really bad year last calendar year. They made this quote-unquote new super team, and they had big expectations and big names in the roster, and while they did make basically every single international tournament, they would get grouped or often first or second rounded and really just not live up to expectations. So they blow up most of the roster. They get this current iteration. They bring in someone like Cameraman, which seems like a crazy thing on paper. Noodle gets imported as well. They have 3 European players, Citizen, Noodle, and Sport. They don't have a single actual true American player, right? Completely like imported roster. They do well here in this first stage, and they look like a team that has the potential, that skill level the previous iteration did not. OXG have had their own struggles too, where they have not made an international event since Lax was on that roster in 2022, I believe the desk said. So they are both fighting for that revival of the team, getting back to international ground, proving themselves once again. We can't have every single team qualify, of course. That's the sadness of it all. There are only so many spots to be had in Major. Right now, M80 might only be 2 rounds away from securing their ticket.
It just goes to show you that Americans are actually the problem, you know? I mean,
just get some EU imports. You'll be a better team. And let's not talk about those, right? Let's not bring up those then.
That's gonna be my new recommendation to every single team whenever I talk to anybody. It's like, do you ever think about bringing in some Europeans?
I mean, you know, Korea did it. NA's now doing it. They're both succeeding. I don't know, man, what to tell you. He was pretty good.
Times are changing. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. But, I mean, hey, here in the last couple years, Brazil has had y'all's number, which has made me so very happy because when you guys struggle, my day just, it's great. It's amazing.
EU
M80 though.
yes.
I will tell you this though, I do like my EU transplants. They have definitely impressed me. It's been some fantastic siege across the last couple of years, just covering anybody that we've had from across the pond, including Spoit. I mean, Spoit's been fantastic on this M80 roster the entire time. And again, just goes to show you his prowess, especially at the fact that they completely, you know, bored out this entire M80 roster, slapped in a bunch of new people, and he's still the same guy.
Yeah. I don't want to say that Sports having probably a better performance with this iteration so far than previous. Like again, like the freedom that he's being allowed to have in these rounds. We see a guy on the staircase, cameraman.
Oh.
Surely he just swings and gets the kill, right? Does he hear him?
Hears?
Oh.
You get
Scared
worried
for a
every once in a
second.
while, man. Especially with cameraman, dude. He's around our age, so your ears just start to go. In case you guys were worried, yeah, you're at 25, your frontal lobe fully develops, but at 26, something terrible happens to your ears. we can't disclose fully. It's inside the NDA, but you'll find out eventually. M80, they don't have to do too much searching themselves, though. Oxygen, they've already tried to put a nail in this coffin, and it's not working out for them. They've smacked their hand, their thumb's bleeding. They're looking for a little assistance. Yaga's gonna try and work his way in. He's got the shoddy Bugatti as well on the line. I absolutely love it for this top floor too here, Nick. It's kind of close quarters. This shotgun can work out, but look at the range that M80 set him up against. How do you do this? I even thought he was lying. He's actually grim. He's got the 5.52 as a possibility. And Dream, what? That 40-yard dash time was absolutely insane. This plant, I think it's actually going to go off. I think he's got a chance. And Yaga's got the shoddy in close range. He's going to be able to keep them at bay. There's a world where this works out for them. I can't believe I'm saying this either. Dream's now repositioned. He's got the M4 train. They're going to have to try and swing wide. The Nitro set will get it done. Dream can only get one. And M80 now sit on the precipice of going to a major after swapping in 4 players around Spoit.
One of the big counters to shotgun against is a C4. You can't just hold left click and track it in there and take it down. You get one shell, that's it. You miss, you will die. But honestly, the fact that that round gets so close and they somehow plant down the diffuser, and the problem-solving skills there is Dream has to just sprint through the entire bomb site past 3 guns watching his direction, somehow does it, and then his plant cover has a shotgun of all things. It's a little bit absurd, but I do think that the story right now is M80 win those 4 attacks. It just proved that this is a difference between how efficient you can be on the attacking side. Because they're making defense look easy. They made attack look relatively easy compared to OXG so far. And again, OXG, just like on Cathay, they don't get enough enough rounds on the side they start on, so they gotta play this comeback game on the side swap. But now you're playing comeback not on Cafe defense that is somewhat favored. You gotta play a comeback on Nighthaven lab attacks on a map you're not super familiar with, don't have a ton of experience or game day repetitions on, and you're down 2 and 6. OXG have not done all that much flexing operators. You're seeing most of the same stuff from them. They've been playing it relatively safe. The one thing though I will say, Nurus hasn't really been playing all those entry operators because he's been playing stuff like Brava in this round. He played Ram a couple of rounds ago. It's been Gomez sometimes being enabled, sometimes Yogg, but both of those players 3 and 8. Not really finding their success in the rounds, but to be fair, every single player besides Nurus is lacking in the kill department.
It's really unfortunate too because M80, I mean, they've clearly been the better team when it comes to Nighthaven Labs.
Yeah.
But the big thing is that Oxygen aren't just fighting M80, they're like fighting Calamity M80. They've got the max version of this roster in front of them. Citizen and Spoit just amongst themselves. We're still in regulation. There's only 8 rounds that have been played. This is now making it a 9th. Quick math, 23 kills between those 2 guys, y'all. Come on. How do you fight back when 2 players have 23 kills in this short span of time? The answer is you don't. Even when you have a talented roster like Oxygen. I mean, this is taking nothing away from them. Gomez, New, Yogg, Diaz, they're all amazing fraggers. You can even toss Dream in there when his number's called up. But when M80's hot, I mean, they look like world beaters, man.
You're not wrong. And it's a good question. How do you shut them down? Well, You can play stuff like Blitz, like Monty, like Jackal, Deimos, for example, right? I think JC brought it up. Are we going to see Deimos being played? Because it's not really been like a super present operator for a team like OXG. And you can specifically target down a player like Citizen or Spot. As long as you've spotted out their operator, you can stop that tracker, know exactly where they're playing at, make them a bit uncomfortable, not give them fair 50-50 gunfights. Nero's in an awkward spot because he cannot deal with the castle barricades. The Territor comes in though. Cameraman is proning them just on the chassis in the corner. Somebody help this man, please.
Oh man.
He doesn't know.
If this works out. If this works out, cameraman is in the next Coconut Bra video. I swear. Oh, no, we found him. Oh God. Oh please. Is there a cap? No, there's no cap.
Oh my, what?
I had to check for a split second, but he gets traded out immediately. For some reason, New said go, 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 and all of Oxygen said New, no, no, no. Now Gomez, they'll at least get the trade, so they'll keep the man advantage in their favor, but this timer is starting to dwindle. It's gonna start eating at them, especially with a pretty strong duel set up inside of the actual heart of the site. You got Kino, Noodle, and Spoit awaiting these 4 players. Yogg gonna be forced to try and work his way in. He's gunned down from Kino on the swing. The timing there doing him no favors. And hey, make it double duty. You can just repeat the same sentence as another man loses his life simply on the swing, simply on the timing. The case is gonna go into the fate of Diaz. Now, oh my, just what is he? What is he? What is he? Kino! Like a phoenix from the ashes. This entire stage has been an entire showcase of why he has deserved to come back off of the bench, why he has deserved to show M80 what he can do, when he can show the world what he can do. 4 kills to close things out on Night Haven Labs and guarantee M80 a shot in Manchester.
So many people will, of course, talk about Sport and Citizen and all those like big player names, but I have to agree with you. Kino has done so much work, and I think reflection of his own like character and personality, and also how he's played the game between last year and this year. He is more like high energy. He's playing the game with more confidence. He's finding more success, and even when Kino has a slow start to a game, it doesn't continue out the entire way through. He will usually have a pop-off moment like in that last round and prove himself worthy of being in that roster.
Yeah, 100%. And again, we cannot express enough how crazy it is for M80 to be able to change things up in the way that they have and come out swinging the way that they are, especially in these playoffs. I mean, today, especially with how Oxygen started off this series, it really looked like M80 were going to be going down into the lower bracket and having to figure things out, potentially facing an open qual down the line. But instead, their story leads to Manchester in a very quick move. If this was shoots and ladders, it has found the best ladder possible, man.
Yeah, I'm super proud of the guys, you know, being a little bit EU biased here, you know. It's a big risk doing imports, it really is, and you gotta say, like, you can have a domestic player, okay, whatever, it doesn't work out, you got different players. When you get somebody from a different country into your team, like G2 picking up Virtue or Alamal, it's a big long-term investment usually. So maybe finding a quick reward and quick success can be very important for the longevity of that roster.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Well, my friend, that's gonna do it for you and me. You finally get to take a nap. I know it's late over in Europe.
It's 4:30.
So we're gonna throw y'all to a quick break. My friend is in a time zone where it's 4:30 in the morning. Go to a break. Let's get an analyst desk in here.
They dominated every stage domestically for a year, yet went to every international LAN and couldn't make up much ground. They drop almost the entire team in favor of imports, trying to turn their fortunes around in the hopes that it will finally be able to push them across the finish line. And today, it finally happened, hopefully with better results. The first team from the North American League to qualify for the Manchester Major is M80. A team with not a single North American-born player on it is the first squad to go all the way to the UK, representing North America. I love it for the team, but as an NA guy, I'm a little bit conflicted about it.
Hey, I'm still happy. I love that M80 qualified, even if 5 of them, are all from different areas. Nonetheless, they're carrying NA all the way over there, so that's the biggest point that matters here. But other than that, I mean, it was a beautiful display of performance from these guys. I said whoever was going to let out the gas was going to fall short. And I don't even necessarily want to say Oxygen played bad. I really want to hone in on M80 and how they played. I thought they played this map really well. The communication, the coordination, the adaptation. They were doing everything perfectly, and it just was falling into place for them throughout this entire map.
Yeah, I mean, the attacks were obviously the key focal point. We continued to talk about how the team that started on attack would be at a massive disadvantage. And whether that ended up being M80 or Oxygen, it was M80, but that didn't seem like it was a disadvantage. They continued to push forward. They had such good ideas on so many of those takes, coming in against Oxygen, really making their lives difficult. It felt like Oxygen, if they tried to go for heavy roams, they would either get ignored and the site would get rushed down and then everybody would crumble on the bomb site. If they tried to play a little bit more condensed and slow things down, they couldn't do that either. So big difference between these two teams when we saw kind of the defensive half coming through from M80. Felt like that was a lot more successful at stalling things out. Almost felt like Cafe in some ways, where they were able to bring out the Goyo. They were able to win on time all the time, leave Oxygen with a really, really tough situation where they just couldn't close out the executes.
Actually, I found the real reason Oxygen lost. M80 finally shut down DS. It took 2 maps to do it, but he goes 3-8 in this game after top fragging for the past 2 maps, so you can't keep the same level of consistency going for this. That's obviously a joke. I'm not saying the entire thing hinged on just DS winning the series, but it's obviously a big reason for why they were able to come out ahead.
The Oxygen tank ran out. That's really what happened. The Oxygen
we
ran
have
out.
too many puns we can use for OXG having the name that they have, yeah.
No, I mean, you said it best. Like the condensed playstyle and everything. M80 was forcing that, though. The way that they were entering the site, the way that they were opening up the site, it was forcing Oxygen into such bad positioning where when you go into a map, or when you go into a site or a room, when you know someone can't be in a specific place and they can only be somewhere else, that puts you in such a man advantage, or just yourself, to be more confident in that gunfight that you're about to take. And that's exactly what M80 was doing.
There's really no better way to qualify for a major than dominating your opponent. M80 completely looked invincible. They ran a train on Oxygen, could not lose, and that's exactly what you want to do to qualify for the first major of the year.
So they got the least amount of losses over the course of the best of ones. They don't get any top 2 protections. There's no buy, yet they still come out and they do this. A really clean sweep over Space Station 2-0, and the only map that they lost today was still a really damn close one. So even if they lose 1 map over the course of this series, when they go to Manchester, even though there's still 1 game left to determine the overall NAL champion for this stage, how confident are we feeling? Way too early predictions about how well they might do at the major now that we know that they're going.
I'm feeling extremely confident. These are all world-class players. They know what best of 3s are like. They know what they need to do in order to bounce back from a loss and to focus. I mean, we saw it here. They bounced back, and then they ended the series wonderfully, and like you said, they ran a train on Oxygen.
Yeah, I mean, I think for these players, right, they're so experienced, and you've still got the core of Kino and Spoit. With Spoit playing so fantastically well throughout this series, the stage as well, I don't think there's been a player who has popped off more in the NAL than this guy. In my opinion, Spoit is, and I said it before, I'll say it again, the best player in the North American League. So if he can continue to lead the team in these international events, if he can continue to step up in the big moments like he did through these playoffs and like he did through the regular season, I got confidence in M80. I really do think they can bring the title home for North America. They can make a big run at the major. It's going to be tough. There's some great players on, in Europe and in Brazil and maybe even some of the other regions. But for now, I mean, he is the guy.
And I'll say this. I apologize, Ashton. I was hyping you up throughout this stage, but Spoit is the better player here. He is the most dominant. But you also can't forget about Citizen on the team. Citizen is right there with Spoit. Maybe not in terms of like overall standing, but those two contribute such a massive role to M80's success throughout these rounds.
It 100% doesn't happen. One does not occur without the other.
There you go. Yeah, it's love kills each. I mean, Citizen has been less consistent throughout the stage, but the highs he has hit during these playoffs, yesterday and today, I would say were actually higher than Spoit. So when you take these two as a duo, Spoit, the consistent, constant fragger, always there providing value, Citizen, the guy who pops off and brings the most when it matters the most, it's an unbeatable team.
Of all the guys I wanted to talk to on this M80 team, it's 100% Kino. And now we finally get the chance. He's going to a major again. It took a minute because he didn't get the chance to do it at the 6th Invitational. Dude, talk to me about how you're feeling. Congratulations, my guy.
Thank you guys. It means a lot. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. It was a hard match.
Yeah.
I'm shaking right now.
I mean, you're eating your mic too. You're very loud. But, you know, Kino, I literally said, it was funny too. I actually laughed because I was like, wow, Kino's not having a really solid start to this round. And then all of a sudden you dropped that 4K to end the series. And I was like, okay, well, guess I blessed him right there. But what I really wanted to ask, now that you are going to Manchester and you have all these gunners around you, you have this team now going into this event, what's going to be different from how it was going with the old M80 roster? What's the big confidence point for you guys?
Honestly, we're gonna work harder, way harder, because we know that if we want to win, that if we want to go, have a good tournament, we have to keep working. The job is not done, and we're just gonna treat every game like it's just one more game. We're gonna work for that game. We're gonna play that game. No expectations, no nothing. We're just here to play.
Absolutely.
Kino, you already talked about how difficult this matchup was. Of course, your semifinal against Oxygen, the game that has sent you now to the major. It felt like through these last couple maps, especially Cafe and Nighthaven Labs, you guys were doing a really good job at stalling out a lot of OXG's attacks, delaying a lot of time with the Goyo. How big of a factor was that in terms of your game plan coming into this matchup, or how much of that was just based on the moment-to-moment, map-to-map, what happened in the game?
First map, we started very slow. We were chalked. I was chalked myself. Like you guys can probably tell, like this whole game. Yeah. We were playing very slow. We were making some very basic mistakes that ended up costing us rounds, and it just costed us the map. We were very confident on Chalet, and it just ended up slipping out. But the last two maps, we regrouped. We talked about it. We were like, it's a major game. There's pressure. They're not like they're gonna give areas. Like we can play for map control, and they're just gonna give us the space that we need. And that's kind of what we ended up doing on Cafe. We did a few rushes, a few quick plays here and there. But overall, like we just realized that, like the pressure got to them as well. So we just kind of used that.
Nice.
I don't want to ask too many questions about Manchester quite yet, because that's still a couple weeks away at this point. It's either, Beast Coast or Dark Zero at this point for the actual NAL title. That comes up tomorrow. How focused are you going to be on a match like that? Is there something to prove in yourselves that you have what it takes to win an overall NAL stage? Or at this point, are you just happy with the fact that this roster that had so many things going against it to start the stage, making a majors is kind of all you needed to do for yourselves? How focused and how important is that matchup you have to play tomorrow?
It's very important for us. It's seeding, it's money, it's bragging rights. So it's still like, it's a very important match for us. And like, if we're gonna make new strats, if we're gonna, make new stuff and start working on like the next step, we're gonna do that after NAL. So this game tomorrow, it's not like we're just gonna be like, okay guys, we made a major, let's hide strats, let's hide this, let's hide that. Like we won it as well. So we're just gonna play like it's another match, and we'll see how it goes. Excited to watch this Beast Coast Dark Zero game. It should be a good one.
All right, Kino, well, all jokes aside with your Blitz play and your Monty plays and everything, I just personally want to say, obviously, you're like a little brother to me, and I'm so glad to see your bounce back and your success, and that you're back at the top and you're qualified for a major. So I'm super proud of you.
Did you watch the game, Lex? Did you see how I played?
Hey, what's important is that you ended the game.
I won.
Trust me, I was watching, I commented on it, but then you ended up hitting a 4K. But none the matter, you have improved since the last year, and you know that you've improved. And I think that needs to be noted. Now just do better. Yeah. Do better going into Manchester.
do better, kid.
But I am proud of you nonetheless.
I'll do better. Well, the reason why I played bad,
I don't need the excuses.
It's a lot of Monty, a lot of Blitz, like how that goes.
For sure.
Brother, you're playing Blitz. You know the Warden is in VIP. Like you know he's there.
No, we knew.
Just hit the button.
Yeah.
Use just flash the guy, man. I'm just saying.
I wanted to ADS him, like give him a fair gunfight,
You did ADS him. You did ADS him. You didn't want to. You did ADS him and you lost it. It's all right though.
His teammate got the trade.
I lost it. got the trade, lost the round. All good.
Won the map, won the series, so who cares,
All
right?
that matters.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, well, dude, congratulations. You're doing another major is going to go under your belt, and to do it with a completely new crew has to feel good for you guys. But again, like you said, still one more game to play tomorrow. I'm going to hold you to your word. If you slack off in that game, so help me God. So you can go forth, make sure you win that thing, dude. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
I just want to put this out there. I love North American Siege, and one of the things about two import rosters coming in this stage, there was some contention about it. I was a part of the conversation. I remember seeing a lot of conversations happening about it. If this is not the biggest wake-up call to North America in general, to get their shit together, I'm not sure what it will take, because none of the players on M80 were born in this region. None of them had a basis. Kino obviously did. We welcomed Citizen and Spoit to the region last year. We got the other guys in to help complete the whole picture for this stage. But now everyone else has to step their game up. These guys are the ones setting the bar, and none of them were born here at all.
I mean, what I really want to see here is, sure, M80 did qualify. I love that for them.
Yep.
But we did see them last stage. They qualified for every single event, and when they got to the international event, that is where we did not see M80. So I got to see that performance at an international level.
Yeah, I mean, this is their qualifying moment. Obviously, congrats to M80, but they've done this before.
Yep.
They've gone to majors before. They've not looked good in majors
Well,
before.
they went to majors, and then they went back home. They got off the plane, and they immediately turned back around.
So, I mean, the hard part is yet to come for M80. I want to see what they can do. And even the grand finals. I mean, North America still has two strong candidates of non-imports to take down M80 coming through into the grand finals tomorrow. So it's still wide open. I think M80 definitely should feel good about themselves, but there's plenty more Siege to be played.
We'll talk a little bit more about M80 when we get to their first place match tomorrow against the winner of this game. One more semifinal to go. Winner goes to Manchester. Loser has to take a third place gamble tomorrow to also still go to Manchester. It's Beast Coast and Dark Zero after the break.